all kind of enjoyed what they saw. They enjoyed that DK flex onto mid for no one. There's a tempo issue for the side of AVULUS. If they start to fall behind a little bit too much, you heard the panel again. It's Alchemist, it's Lina, it's Doom. All of these cores will need some build-up. And it doesn't take that long for PARIVISION to get online. And granted, if the lanes are even, I think you're relatively happy in AVULUS. But PARIVISION's also not too bad off. They can play off the DK. They can get their own siege going. They've always got the Stampede to escape. And, you know, at the very least, Centaur doesn't need that much farm to start to connect with some of these supports. Whereas for the side of AVULUS, I mean, who are you going to connect with? The best bet you have is maybe Stormstormer. An early level 6, you try to tempo yourself around Laguna. But even the Lina needs some farm, right? Like, it doesn't necessarily enjoy going around as much, but it will have to buy space for the Alkan Doom here.
Yeah, we'll see what does happen. I mean, again, a lot of pressure on both these sides to try and pull off this victory here in Game 1, give yourself the advantage going into Game 2. And again, if you pull off this best of 3, you are guaranteed top 3, which is a fantastic position to be in. Here at ESL One Bangkok, we'll see how it all does pan out. Seneca's already having a look around. They know there was a ward placed on that dire side of the Tier 1 tower, but they're not going to try and look for it yet. Banneroon fight doesn't really seem like it's coming either. DM might have some games to play with Seneko and does manage to sneak the Banneroon away. So a nice little steal here as they are going to get a 3-for-1 trade the way of PARIVISION. Already a nice little start.
Yeah, a good little denial. Again, you've got the Alchemist early. You know, that little bit of extra gold can play a huge part, especially with the seed money to sustain through the lane. So that just takes a little bit of the bite away there for the side of AVULUS and Smiling Knight. Still taking a gander on mid. This is a matchup we don't see too often. At least it's not the most popular one recently. It's something we've seen before, but this is still relatively stable for the DK. Right, you're going Terminal Runaway as well, so it's not like you've got that steady additional damage through the burn. DK is just going to be able to sit back, breathe fire, regen through, and just farm up normally there.
That he will. Just looking at bottom lane, DM 9 class going to be against Seneko and Smiling Knight. I wonder how much pressure they can really apply here to Smiling Knight to give him a bit of a slower start. It does feel like Seneko should be able to kill Smiling Knight quite safe. I mean, it's very rare you've seen Enchantress lose a lane. So chances are PARIVISION may just have to accept the fact that this Alchemist is probably going to have a decent start to this game.
Yeah, it's not going to be the highest pressure. There's a nice little spike at, say, level 2, level 3. But that's when things kind of stabilize as well for the Ench, especially once you get the value point in Enchant or maybe a value point in Impetus to get some blows back. It's not like the burstiest lane. You do have horsepower up for DM over the double edge facet with additional damage to look for those early plays, which can kind of go sideways considering the damage back. But it should be stable at the very least. You're not going to be stopping Smiling Knight. At the same time, if DM, as long as he's not playing too aggressive, and again, keeps up EXP, they have enough threat that committing onto a center might not also be the best bet there.
I mean, look out for the connections as well from AVULUS with this support duo. I mean, the Ench Shaman both can rotate quite easily onto no one later on, perhaps around the 6-minute mark to try and secure those power runes for Stormstormer. And naturally with these supports as well, you are looking to take very early Tier 1 towers, so the pressure can come out pretty early on if you do find yourself with a pick-off. For now, of course, they will just be sitting in their lanes, but certainly I think around the 6-minute mark is when things could get a little bit scary, especially considering you probably will have that 5-minute siege creep. Top lane, Zibe going to be chased down here by Crystallis. It looks like he might just be dead. They'll try to turn, but the kill will go the way of the Razor first. At the very least, Eki does find a trade, but still a very nice start here for PARIVISION.
That it is. Eki just randomly popped his Cluster Cluck Hex earlier on. Could have had that for a little bit of escape, a little bit of a gap increaser there for Zibe, but you do manage to find a trade. It's a lot better for PARIVISION. You deny EXP away from the Doom. Not that you mind getting EXP on a Shaman anyway. Like, as levels go up, more damage with Ether Shock, you get the value in Shackles. There's some turn potential with the fast Shaman levels here.
I'm gonna say I really hate that. I know you've mentioned it a billion times. I cannot stand the Shaman. You know what? I didn't believe you when you first told me. I'll be honest. I was like, it's not that bad. And then I started playing against it over and over again, and I'm like, no, this is horrible.
It is. It's so okay. The thing that triggers me while we're on this lane is that if you're chasing down a Shaman, right? Yeah. You're about to kill him. Right before he dies, he's gonna pop Hex on himself.
Yes.
Run away, and then when you try to kill him again, he's gonna have that same damn thing again.
Yes.
Like, it should not work that way. It's just okay.
I do feel like if Hex is already on cooldown, it should just not work.
Yeah, nah.
Yeah.
Ah.
Hopefully they change. It's pretty ridiculous.
Well, it's going to be that way here, so let's see if PARIVISION start to enjoy that gameplay.
It's weird though, right? Because it does make Shaman kind of in the meta.
That it does.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny because both of his facets are kind of good in certain games. Like the Giant Ward is not bad.
No,
if you have a line of 4, it's really good.
No, absolutely not. I mean, it is good, is what I'm trying to say here, John. I'm not disagreeing with you. Ducala's going to have a bit of trade here with Eki, not too much to write home about. So far, I mean, things are going pretty smoothly on all lanes. I mean, we saw that 1-for-1 trade up at top, but you kind of expect that with the Razor Ogre. You know, once you hit that level 2 mark, especially on the Ogre, you can choose to get very aggressive, and you almost guarantee yourself a kill when you've got a carry like Razor with you.
Yeah, doesn't take too much to just try to punish Sibit early on. He does have the early chain lightning creep to kind of poke back, and Eki's doing a fine job of just ensuring attention's onto him.
Speaking of Eki, Crystal's actually going to get stunned up by the neutrals, but it won't matter too much because Eki's still in pretty big trouble. Does go for the Hex and just runs away. Zibe, though, he did move in to try and help out. And okay. I dare say Eki's still probably going to die here. Crystallis can go for the Plasma Field and does eventually connect. Eki will go into the Hex form once again, but Crystallis now walking away with a double kill. Even better.
Yeah, you know, maybe getting a little bit keen on that shackle out, not respecting the stuns coming out from Ducala's, of course, with the learning curve, and the burn damage you have on hand. Nice set of kills for Crystallis, a Razor with early levels and kills. Again, we were talking about tempo. PARIVISION are kind of setting up for that, like a Razor with a fast start into BKB. Yasha is already going to be a bit of a threat. Mid lane for no one's drawing even. That does allow a bit of a bottle top-up for Stormer, and your Lina's ahead, but by like 1 CS and 2 denies. It's really not bad for no one whatsoever. And again, it's a DK lane. You expect that lane to be stable no matter what.
That you do. Still, Storm's having a 32 and 4 CS kind of game right now. It's a pretty strong start for Storm. What you like to see if you're the side of AVULUS, and keep in mind their draft does start to take off around the 15-20 minute mark. So you get a great start like this when you're out cleaner, and things are looking already up for you, even if the kill score does not look great for them at the moment. AVULUS still looking pretty damn good from this laning beginning. 6-minute power runes will be spawning up in about 30 seconds, so we'll see if the support rotations are going to come in from either side. Storm, of course, would love it. No one probably doesn't care as much, but would like to at least try and deny it away from Stormer. But as you can see, Seneca's already going to show up. And he will at least start pressuring the tier 1 while he's at it. Just why the hell not? He's got time.
Yeah. Start poking away. See, I believe Eki was on his way down as well. We'll try to poke still, popping that dragon form early, so you might not have enough room to commit. Yeah, unlucky. I mean, committing the dragon form, certainly, again, you can shove back the wave, but Lina can shove it right back in. You're not going to get chip damage onto the tower. It guarantees the gank doesn't come out, at least.
I mean, they really wanted that rune. The Arcane rune would have been very nice for Stormer, but he does get unlucky, so instead they're going to move the support duo down bottom, it seems. Meanwhile, top, Zibe would get ganked by 9 class. He's trying to have a look around to see if he can lock him down with the brambles, but Zibe did have a nice ward on the river, so he does see them moving in. Meanwhile, bottom, Eki looking for an attempt onto DM, does get the shackles off. They'll have a follow-up stun here as well with Seneko, but it is a center. Double braces up, DM is not going to die that easily. Meanwhile, top lane, Zibe still in trouble, eventually actually getting caught out. Eki's going to rotate in to try and help with the Hex. And Zibe, he's still safe, but he's going to get through that tree line. Oh, and that's an awkward pause coming out from Seneko. Storm is right there with the Light Strike Ray ready to go. DM still being chased, but who cares about that? Because Ducala's and 9 class might just both be going down. Ducala's already in trouble. Will go. Still 9 class can steal a Wisdom rune and does manage to get away with it. Storm are going to continue the chase. 9 class. It happens. Storm, he'll try, but the TP away will be successful. And they even got the Wisdom rune, so happy days here for the side of PARIVISION.
Now they get a lot. Storm is not mid, so no one gets to farm more. Gets to actually try to get some chip damage onto the tier 1 with Dragon Form coming off cooldown. Now, you do manage to get some space out for Smiling Light down bot to solo shove as well. DM can't really stop it on a solar scent. But it wastes some time around the map. You're giving a lot of free space out to PARIVISION, which they know how to use. Your Alchemist investment is coming online, and you kind of have to make that worthwhile now. As long as you hold on to this mid-tier 1, you know, if PARIVISION doesn't see a clear path to commit the Dragon Form, which they will,
Stormstormer getting caught. Brambles to lock him down. Ducalis with the Fire Blast to follow up. Though Stormstormer trying to fight back, but no one. Hitting way too hard will take out the laner. Is now Eki, of course. Doesn't really seem like he can get out easily here unless he can really abuse that cluster cluck, and no, he cannot. It's a tongue twister, John. Don't smile at me like that. I know what I was about to say.
Yeah, it's a fun one. Not so fun there.
Crystallis. He'll chase Zibe down. Zibe, he's got some help coming, but it's not quick enough. And even if Seneko was there, I don't think he would have been able to help too much.
No, I mean, he's got the amp damage rune, but it's really not much. It's enough space for mid again to just be cleared out by PARIVISION. Still holding the support. Stormstormer.
Oh, this is a great play. PARIVISION. That's a great play. Just wait for Stormstormer to come back and just set up on him. Eki now, he panicked TP trying to help out, but it's not looking too good for him.
Blocked by his creeps.
He's blocked by the creeps. Eki's down a boot. And that mid-tier 1 tower is guaranteed to go the way of PARIVISION. And that's really bad news when you've got an Alchemist drop.
And it is, and we were talking about it coming in, right? Like the greed on AVULUS' draft. Which core are you going to be connecting with? Stormstormer's your best bet, but his laning start, you know, having a slight lead over the DK is nice. He's died twice in a row. He hasn't been able to really get a kill for himself. It's not smooth going right now for the side of AVULUS. You've got a Alchemist who needs farm, a Doom who needs farm. Meanwhile, PARIVISION, they're inching closer to the BKB timing for Crystallis. You've got the Blink coming out shortly for no one. Nothing's stopping them from just constantly playing tempo. Like, they really don't require much. Maybe DM has a slower game, sure, on that Centaur, but even then, as long as he has Stampede, he still has impact here.
That he does. AVULUS, they'll sit back for a little bit now, 2-9, but a 4K advantage to PARIVISION. Again, quite a scary thing to see with an Alchemist on the other team.
An Alchemist and a Doom. Like, that's just doubling down on how rough a 4K advantage
not Stormstormer. He's been caught again. I mean, he's farming in a safe position. I don't think it's quite his fault. I think this kind of goes back to what Effie was saying on panel. She did say you're going to get caught over and over again on this Lina, and that was without the Dark Willow being around.
No. It's just so susceptible. And it's always in the same spot. You say it's safe, but you know they've been camping this area for a while. Maybe you don't expect them to hang an extra minute or two, but they've got full control on this mid to bottom area right now on the side of PARIVISION. And for AVULUS, all you can hope for is just, again, farm game. You've got free room for Smiling Knight, #1 in net worth. You've got the Midas up for Sibe at the
I don't know
least.
if it's free room right now, John. Smiling Knight, he's been caught out.
Oh no.
The classic caster curse kicking in. Compliments of John X-Fire.
There you go. Yeah, it happens sometimes, but 5 people down, finally sieging onto that bot tier 1. They identify the target they want to slow down here on PARIVISION, take short work of it, and again, open up the map a little bit more. Heck, Crystallis just takes the gate back top, keeps farming up, ensures that the top lane's not going to be shoved in too hard. There's really not much room for AVULUS to play right now. Again, maybe once you start to get some support level 6s, you've got Eki on his. There are some maybe ward plays you can start to hope for, just focus some attention elsewhere on the map. It just doesn't feel like any of these cores are ready to connect.
Well, AVULUS, they have smoked up with their support duo. I mean, I'm pretty sure Eki and Seneko just want to connect top and take the tier 1, because things are getting a little bit scary now with all the objectives being taken by PARIVISION. You'd love a kill on Crystallis first if you could, just to ensure the defense never comes. They won't find him, instead they'll run down south. Ducalis, though, going to run right into Seneko, and no one's right by his side to make matters worse. So Seneko is just going to go down very quickly, and well, now Eki, I mean, you can commit the wards if you really want to, but I wouldn't recommend it. Seems like he will just have to retreat.
Yeah, again, they're moving as 2 supports with no core. Like, there's just no one to connect. All they can hope for is try to get space. It does look like Eki's thinking about just committing wards, just to get something done, but oh no.
Yeah, Stormstormer. I mean, is he being soloed right now by the Willow?
Yeah.
The 9 class is eventually going to back off. Stormstormer, though, not going to be feeling too good about that. Would at least survive. But that is that's a concerning sign. When you see your mid losing to the POS 4 like that, it's not a great feeling.
No, you're also losing your stacks that you'd love to clear out in Smiling Knight. At least we'll find 1 Ancient out of that, but you're not feeling good right now in AVULUS. PARIVISION, just perfect gameplay so far. Great lanes coming out, maybe not in terms of CS. You were getting a little bit more in AVULUS. You got to hand it to them. But once the timings were there, just the movement across the map from PARIVISION has just been a lot cleaner. They identified the tempo, slowing down Stormer. They start to get some punishment on the Alchemist. And all AVULUS can hope for is just time. You were talking about like a 15-minute timer where they'd have to try to draw even.
Not anymore.
It looks pretty unlikely to regain 6k gold in 2 minutes. And again, you're 6k behind with an Alch Doom. It's pretty rough, to put it kindly.
I think the real loss really is the fact that you have a draft with 2 supports that really wanted those early tier 1 towers, and the exact opposite has happened where PARIVISION have just taken your tier 1 towers, and well, as you saw, it was very easy to just access the Radiant Triangle and take all those stacks away. He's now DM. He's going to get a very nice stampede off and just run his way out. So another failed smoke here from AVULUS. And you are really in dire straits now because those objectives with this style of draft was so important. Not only not to lose, but to gain on your own side. And like I said, the opposite has happened if you're AVULUS.
Yeah, that's really quick response out from DM as well. A little bit unfortunate with the Blink. If he was just quick enough to get like Blink Doom before Stampede, he wouldn't get slowed. You maybe get that kill. It just allows the reset. Now PARIVISION can look to play. They know the Blink's up in the Doom. They can hunt here.
Well, Ducalis kind of is... Oh, Seneko. Didn't see him. Ducalis was behind the tree within the fog. Unfortunate for Seneko. At least Smiling Knight wasn't there. I suppose that's the one bright side.
Gets the TP away, gets the farm elsewhere. They do still maintain their defensive wards at the very least in this area on the side of AVULUS. And again, all you can do is just dodge, try to farm, hope that PARIVISION maybe overextends once you've got a couple of your items up. I really appreciate that Sibe did just go naked Blink, like Brown Boots Blink on the Doom, considering this game. Maybe you could go back to Midas if you wished, or just sell it out for the Midas down the line. But there's just no play. Top tier 1 gets taken for free. They do find a Wisdom for their trouble, at least.
Eki, big Hex out, wards down. Eki, though, he does not really have too much help incoming. In fact, no one has all the help incoming. And Eki, of course, just gonna have to die, trying to deny himself to the Ancients, but it is not gonna work. And sadly, no one's just gonna farm all those Serpent wards, so you probably just did him a favor by dropping them, I'm not gonna lie here, John.
He's gonna be very happy. A very tanky DK, just hard to burst down with a Mage Slayer up. Hard to burst down in general with Serpent wards anyhow. You had Stormer around, he knew it was trouble the moment that commitment came in. Again, silver lining for AVULUS, buying space, trying to recover on your Doom, trying to get some tempo out on Stormer. Has the travels up, so you can throw around the map and try to shove back waves, trying to work into the Ag's timing on that Lina still a ways off. And, I mean, PARIVISION just have everything. Maybe Vision's a little bit lacking. I do appreciate these wards coming out from AVULUS. Still one behind the tier 1 top. Defensive wards in their triangle, a ward watching the forward jungle down bot, but it's not like they can play off the back of their offensive wards right now.
Certainly not. I think at the very least you are waiting for Stormer to have the Ags up to actually have any damage output. So right now they are just playing basically 4v5 as Smiling Knight going to try and jump in, but a very nice juke out from 9 class. Eki going to try and D-ward while he's at it, but he's not even going to find that. They'll just take him out. The ward will remain. 9 class will just D-ward the sentry instead. Oh, they just can't get anything off this map. My goodness. Everything's been denied here from the side of AVULUS.
Yeah, and again, it's a good point to bring up. The side of PARIVISION, they've got 2 excellent aggressive wards down bot. They're playing off the back of it because they have the map control. They've got the timing set up. They've got an 8k lead. I have never seen an 8k lead against an Alchemist Doom draft. It's just unthinkable. It's almost unplayable, as you were seeing here for AVULUS. It's just painful to try to work into that recovery period.
No one's going to have a gander with his team as well, see if they can find the Alch, but it seems like they realized without the smoke breaking that he was not farming the left side Ancients. I mean, you're in a position where you just control a lot of the map right now as PARIVISION, so you're probably just better off continuing to farm, honestly. There's just no stress on them to try and take T2 towers yet. It is still very early. And by the time the Alch Lina have their spike, you question whether they can still take on PARIVISION, who are just still 7k ahead. I mean, we'll find out as time goes on. No one now just looking to slowly chip away at the tier 2. Meanwhile, mid Ducalis and DM going to just continue pressuring through the mid lane. Everybody from AVULUS just staying off the map as much as they possibly can. At least out of vision, I mean.
Yeah, they just have to try to find space. They're taking over the top jungle a little bit. You've got Stormer playing on the right side, clearing out some Ancients. and can just stall for time. They're constantly dropping wards to form some threat onto objectives. Not the most threatening in the world, and like you said, no one is tanky enough. He'll just get some free gold for himself, why not? And it's time, but it's net worth you're bleeding for that time.
I think it makes enough sense because you're forcing TPs. So you know at least if you jump somebody, there's no TP rotations from no one. At least for the next minute. I think, yeah, AVULUS just understand, yeah, we're going to feed him a couple hundred gold, but this is all we can do.
Yeah.
It's all we can do. Let him have it.
Yeah, your options are just way too limited. Maybe once you get this BKB up on Smiling Knight, along again with that Ags for Stormer, this game can start to simplify a little bit more. It's 2-15. Like, any kill you find in AVULUS later on is going to be worth a lot, so you do have some bounce back potential if you can find some openings.
That's what I'm saying. I think once they have the Ags on the Lina, if you can burst one or two down, you know, like you said, it's a lot of gold. It's going to be a lot of gold, but you need that Ags up on Storm. Without the Ags, I just don't see the damage. There really is none.
No. It's not too far off, at least. Almost about 1,200 or so gold left. So they will have that up. And to be fair, the gold lead for PARIVISION hasn't grown, right? It's been around 6-7K for at least the last 2-3 minutes now. So the game has stabilized. That's always good news when you're behind. At least it's not growing any wider. The game's not getting as harder as it can be. So it's within manageable realms. I will say though, if you start losing these tier 2s, let's say 2 tier 2s down, you're not going to be feeling good. Like it gets even worse. Your map space even more limited. You can expect more aggressive wards out from Parry. They can start to set up for Roshan down the line as well. And it just gets way too complicated for AVULUS at that point, outside of high ground defense.
When he comes to tier 2 bottom tower, PARIVISION, they had enough of waiting. They'll take the easy tier 2. Obviously, as you can see, no one is not going to take too much time in dealing with this tower, especially with the Bloodlust available. And there you go. Tier 2 bottom tower gone. Again, brighter side, I mean, BKB's coming out on our Alchemist, so you're going to have that available for Smiling Knight very soon, and the timing with the Ags on Stormer is going to be about right. So the BKB and Ags will be up pretty soon. I just think as soon as you have those two items, it has to be a smoke.
It has to.
I don't think you can sit back, because now Eki going to go for a Hex out onto the Ogre. This looks bad, but Eki's making space. He's just tanking all these ganks for the team. He's taking attention away from the rest of the team. Seneko, he's going to be all right.
I mean, I appreciate what Eki did. He was in that mid lane for more than a minute. His wards survived the entire duration. He cleared out 2 waves. He was clearing out the camp. And again, he's making sure that the creep wave's not too shoved out below.
Oh, very close. Nice attempt.
Yeah, I mean, you'll take what you can get in AVULUS. You bait out Stampede, you're going to be happy. You're wasting this time on mid. You're clearing out 2 creep waves with your support. You're only sacrificing your Shadow Shaman in the past few minutes. They are solid. Look at that net worth lead, down to just 4K.
But they've got the items. They should smoke right now. BKB up on the Arc. Storm's got the Ags. He's got BOT, so he can TP to his team whenever. They're going to try for Crystallis by the looks of it. Running through the river, Crystallis. Still farming without knowing what's going on. Mind you, he has a tier 2 bottom tower. His team could rotate. Looks like he wants to retreat now, sensing something is wrong. You do have a blink on Smiling Knight, so you do have that initiation. Crystallis, though, backing off at the exact right moment. Or has he? He'll go back for the siege creep. Still waiting by the tier 2. His team is now nearby. Crystallis is not alone any longer. They'll try for the Tormentor. This is a very interesting play. And it seems like they'll just escape. So not seeing the opening they really wanted with that smoke. Seneko's going to tank the gank. Everybody else just going to try and TP out, apart from Eki, who's been left behind. The poor guy's got TP off cooldown in 10 seconds. So he's just going to wait.
Yeah, but they're not checking. You know, it pays off for the side of AVULUS. Free Tormentor. You don't find the kill, which is rather unfortunate, but you also don't reveal your big item spikes. Still, Roche opening up here for PARIVISION. They know they've just backed off from the Tormentor. It does not take too long with the damage you have on hand with all this farm.
That's kind of the trade-off. Like, I do believe they really wanted a fight. They needed a pick-off. I mean, Tormentor's nice, but it's nowhere near enough right now for AVULUS. It's PARIVISION. Of course, going to take a free Roshan now for themselves, and they'll hand the Aegis over to Crystallis. I mean, I wouldn't mind them still smoking up again. You know, they could still try another time, but it does start to feel like PARIVISION just has a read on what AVULUS wants to do.
That they do. Just managing to dodge perfectly, avoid these big item spikes. I will say, again, you haven't found the kills yet in AVULUS, but you're staying in the game. Network leads down to just 2K from 7K a few minutes ago. So they're equalizing quite a fair bit. Mind you, it's still not great when you've got Doom Alk.
Eki's been caught again, but he's in a good position to just tank the game. Rest of his team was just south of him. Nice juke out from Eki. Limit Cape paying off already. Stampede popped. Eki still trying to run. Has been caught though. DM will eventually find him. 9 class will be able to secure an easy kill. Meanwhile, no one looking to go for a bit of a chase onto Smiling Knight. But this is just farm denial. He knows he's not actually going to kill the Alchemist. He just wants to bully him out of the triangle.
And that he does. Again, you're choking out the side of AVULUS. You're still fairly happy on Eki wasting Stampede like that. It's not the longest cooldown at this point, just a minute where you don't have to worry about that chase. But it is, again, every single minute counts for AVULUS when you're 2 to 18, when every minute is dragging back 1K your way, and it's just down to 2K. It's been fluctuating down to a 1K advantage for PARIVISION. All things considered, with 16 kills behind, with no real network lead to speak off on PARIVISION any longer, there is still that play potential. And it looks bad. You aren't killing stuff, you haven't really cleared out the map, but you are keeping up here in AVULUS, somehow.
I mean, the problem is all that net worth is on one hero, and that is Smiling Knight. I suppose at this point, if you're AVULUS, you're looking for a high ground defense to try and make this comeback happen in this game 1. Tier 2 top tower going to drop, Tier 2 mid tower will be the next objective here for PARIVISION, and that's going to be the final outer tower of the game for PARIVISION to take. Keeping in mind as well, Crystallis still has a 3-minute Aegis available, so I would not blame them whatsoever for trying to force a Tier 3 tower.
Smiling Knight?
Oh, this could be big. Smiling Knight can't afford to die like this. No one's going to catch him out. He'll get the BKB Chemical Rage off in time, but can he actually TP away in time? Oh, he can. But now without the BKB Chemical Rage, PARIVISION should feel a lot safer going high ground if they want to.
Yeah, they can take that risk. Like you said, Age is still up for a long time here on Crystallis. You still have Doom to play with at the very least. So you can just run up and try to isolate one as Stormstormer.
Oh, Stormstormer. He's going to try and fly to the low ground and does do so. TP away, and no one will not see him. A nice escape from Stormstormer. It's just so scary for AVULUS, because one death like that, and suddenly you've lost a rat.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you have to be so careful. It has to come down to this high ground defense for AVULUS, because you're surrendering the map entirely. You're not defending any outer tower. Crystallis, again, it has no concern for the next 2 minutes. And Crystallis' itemization is just perfect. Sanjin Yasha after the BKB, not too far off. Straight Lincolns with his Doom matchup. If you were hoping to try to lock in the Razor, guess what? It's not going to be easy. And, you know, if you're not going to be locking in the Razor, it's easy enough to pump that onto no one as well to dodge the Doom. So your answers are growing fairly limited here on the side of AVULUS. It has to be very coordinated in popping eventually that Lincolns when it does come out here.
Oh, one. Try and jump in. Won't find a stun onto the end. Tier 3 tower already losing about half its HP, but it will be PARIVISION looking to retreat. Keeping in mind, PARIVISION still own the whole map right now. There is no reason to try and force something when you know your draft is going to eventually just scale better anyway. When you own the whole map, you may as well use it. So PARIVISION just going to sit back and relax a little bit longer. 1 more minute on the Aegis for Crystallis, so yeah, just let it expire. Play safe. No need to rush this game. At the very least, AVULUS still in the game, so happy days for them.
Again, network lead has completely disappeared for the most part. Win probability for PARIVISION is still 89%. So you still have a lot to work on in trying to work this map on AVULUS. They'll try with another smoke. Again, their forward vision is somewhat there.
Knights. They're watching him. DM gonna jump in. 9 class gets the terrorize off. Brambles to lock him down. Smiling Knight gonna try with the Chemical Rage, but it's not enough. Never even bothers popping the BKB because there was probably just no point. What do you do? I mean, Smiling Knight, he's trying to find the little space he can on this map. And sadly, it is going to cost his life. And keep in mind, he has no buyback.
No, the timing's just awful. The rest of AVULUS is smoked up. They sense something on the side of PARIVISION. They punish onto the high ground. Again, Age is still up for a few more seconds for a quick reset. But now, full Lincoln's up for Crystallis. how do you start these fights with the Doom? Who do you Doom? Do you ignore the Razor? Just try not to deal with Lincolns? Do you try to Doom up no one? Instead, on the DK, allowing the Razor to just run around like a maniac. It's a tough one to call here for the side of AVULUS to hold us back.
We'll see how they try to do it. I mean, no one just seems uncontestable at the moment on this Dragon Knight. I just can't see anyone killing him off. They're not even going to try. They'll just try to do it with the creep wave, but without your Alchemist, you've basically given yourself a 0% chance to win that fight. So they'll wait. Smiling Knight, he's back up in 1. Because PARIVISION, they're playing so clean, John.
Oh, yeah.
Even if they know how far ahead they are, they're not taking unnecessary risks.
No.
They're patient. You know, get back to the farm game, have a bit of fun, hit some creeps, have some coffee.
Yeah.
No need to rush.
No need to rush and no need to take any risk when, again, you've got the tempo on your side. You had such a strong start with so much on the line in this series. Remember, you win this one, you're top 3 straight up in Bangkok.
Here we go, though, John. AVULUS. They understand they can't just keep waiting high ground. They need to make a play. They'll try again. A big wraparound. Through the river. Into the mid lane they'll go. The 5-man smoke. Stormer on the front. He'll reveal himself, though, by taking out the creep wave. So PARIVISION, they're going to counter smoke now. I'm not sure that play was head back towards the Radiant Triangle while AVULUS, they're heading south. I mean, they've placed some wards down, but nobody from PARIVISION is here. I can only wonder, had they just not Dragon Slayed that creep wave, it does feel like we'd be casting a fight right now between these two sides, but I suppose, bright side, AVULUS, they do have a little part of the map they can actually farm in now.
That they do. It is the part they need to take control over as well, with all the creeps shoving in, that they're not quite addressing. So that does still reveal to PARIVISION that something's up. No one's showing on the map. No one's stopping the slow chip damage onto your effigies, eventually working into the tower. As Stormer will eventually show up, at least as well for AVULUS, right? Like, while you're kind of going around the map and not finding anything, PARIVISION has no objectives to play for. There's no Roshan up for a little bit longer. We'll see that timer in a few seconds here. You don't really have anything else to take. Maybe more vision is what you'd look for on PARIVISION. Right now, they only really have the mid lane wards, but yeah, they'll just go back to sieging. Like, again, low committal siege, just with the DK up front. His team's starting to move in to back him up as well. And the damage coming out from no one is significant here.
That's the way you drag him back. You know, you smoke down bottom to farm, sure. But you've got to come back home and defend. No farm for you. Smiling Knight, going to jump in, but stuns himself through the Lotus Orb. Terrorize? Will be cancelled by 9 class, he won't commit. PARIVISION again, not risking anything. Understanding that AVULUS still have a chance. They will retreat, look for another day. And that other day might be right after Roshan, which is going to be available in about 35 seconds from now.
Yeah, nice quick spawn here. PARIVISION again. They could just look to secure that. You have some forward vision for AVULUS to even consider, at the very least, contesting into that area if they so wish. But I don't know if they'll even be able to find that angle in. Full Daedalus up now for no one. Even more damage up for our DK. You've got all the protection you need with that Lincoln's out, with the Lotus out already there. It's not an easy time for AVULUS. Like, again, ideally, one of these smokes start to pan out, even a kill on a support, just to set things up, just to try to force something out. Or, let's say, a scenario where you manage to force Stampede out early, you smoke up, reset, come back in. That could be one way to go as well. We'll take the Tormentor, get a free shard up for Sibe. So you've got a little bit more coming out from that Scorcher, a little bit of healing coming in. But, I don't know, it's just so strange, right? Like, 2-19... definitely in PARIVISION's control with a Rax advantage. Net worth still keeps getting reeled back in, but we're at 31 minutes. Like, you do expect net worth to be there for the Alk and the Doom. You expect a slight advantage, maybe at 15, considering the rough start. All the way at 30, it's not that scary.
No, absolutely not. PARIVISION. Going for that Roshan. There'll be no contest at all from AVULUS. They're just taking the time to hit some creeps. Meanwhile, of course, PARIVISION taking what they need to take. Eventually the Roshan does get scattered up by this Alpha Wolf, but it won't matter. Aegis up on no one. Roshan batter on 9 class, so now the high ground becomes infinitely harder to defend if you are AVULUS. At least for one lane of barracks. And it seems like they're already on the hunt, going through the twin gates. Let's see if anyone's farming this northern side of the map. 9 class will have a gander, but instead it seems like they'd rather just go through the top lane.
Yeah, just go for that siege, get the creep wave shoved in, start to set up for the high ground. And for AVULUS, I'm not sure what you're waiting for at this point. Like, you're trying to work towards the full Blood Torn out on Smiling Knight. You're working towards the Shivas for Sibe, who still hasn't TP'd out. But again, very fortunate they didn't scout forward for him. You're just going to have to, again, try to figure out a way to get that split, to find the back line, or to isolate out these heroes on the side of PARIVISION somehow.
No one. Under the tier 3 tower he'll go. Of course, it is going to be pretty short work if he is left to his own devices. Looks like Stormstormer just bought an Ethereal Blade, so they might be able to try and blow somebody up. They'll jump in. Smiling Knight is there with the stun. No one's going to be the target. Can they do it? They're almost there, but not quite. He's still alive. Still had the Aegis anyway. So you would have had to go through a secondary life, but he wants to keep the first.
Yeah, really sick Lotus timing coming out there, reflecting back. I believe the Laguna and maybe the E-Blade as well. Yeah, both of them reflected back to Stormstormer, making it very uncomfy to look for the follow-up. And they're just so durable now. Like, we were talking about this Lina damage. The items are there. The timing, certainly not so.
Jump in again. No one. Just wants the range barracks for now. Still, they're going to try and blow him up another time, but it's not going to work out. No one's still perfectly fine as the jump is there onto Eki. Eki, he'll get the Hex off. He'll run. Eki's still being chased, but Crystallis does not have quite enough to get the job done. So everyone still remains alive for AVULUS, as they are going to smoke now, trying to chase down the side of PARIVISION.
This needs to be their moment. This needs to be where things start to work out. No Dragon form up. You still have Doom. You have ways to pop through the Linken's and Lotus. In fact, the Lotus you might not even care for as long as the Doom is on a big one. We'll have to see if that angle works it out. So far, they're just trying to wait and see if PARIVISION decides to siege again with the Aegis, but again, very cautious gameplay from PARIVISION. No risks. They know this is around the time you try to make a smoke play. They're not even showing.
Mid lane, no one's going to pop the Dragon Form one more time. Smiling Knight will start channeling the stun. Eki going to jump in. Dukalis, he's been blown up. That's one down. It's a 4v5. PARIVISION, though, going to find at least Eki is now no one being targeted. Keep in mind, he has 2 lives available, but they'll find one. Eki will buy back into the fight. AVULUS, they've seen enough. They're happy with the trades. They do end up losing Zibe. But, I mean, quite frankly, John, with the way this game's been going, I think they'll be okay with that trade.
Oh, it's actually pretty damn big. You managed to take the Aegis, you managed to actually get a kill without even expending Doom on Zibe. Like, he still has that on the respawn. He has a window where he could play with it, although not the biggest window in the world. Taking away the Aegis does stall out the high ground play for PARIVISION. And again, allows some recovery for this lineup that just needs so much farm. You still have this Blood Torn timing lining up for Smiling Knight. You've got the refresh coming out now for DM as soon as he gets gold for it. And things can start to simplify with double Doom at the least. Still, PARIVISION for their part, go back onto their side of the map, keep the farm game up, take their Tormentor with a free shard for good old 9 class. Next Roche is still a ways off, as it's still about 4 minutes, we'll see the timer. So AVULUS can't jump on that either, but they can start to look for aggressive wards, manage to get some up top, watching that top jungle just a fair bit, and they could start to poke onto some objectives if they feel a little bit frisky here.
I don't know about that. I mean, PARIVISION, I'm sure would be more than happy to take the fight. Maybe a little bit spooked seeing how fast no one can get blown up. PARIVISION 4-man smoke. They're going to head down bottom and try to force AVULUS to come back to the base. They do not want to allow the space for them to farm and catch up. Creep wave. PARIVISION hoping somebody takes it. They won't, so no one going to jump onto the high ground and try to deal with the T3 mid tower instead. No one will get stunned up. Eki's in with the wards and the Hex out onto no one, but no one's still going to be okay. Stampede even committed as DM, completely out of position now. Here comes the fight. Zibe going to jump in with the stun. Nobody really getting caught though. Everyone's still perfectly fine on either side. A lot of respect being given by PARIVISION.
I like that. Also a lot of respect coming out from AVULUS, right? Like, they get the catch on the center, they don't instantly Doom, they don't try to go for that kill, knowing that they've got bigger problems in the backline waiting for them. They commit in that Centaur. Guess what? It's a free run for no one. It's a free run for Crystallis to just run you down without worrying about Doom. So it's just very difficult for you on AVULUS, even if someone overextends, to find an angle in. They do slowly chip away in PARIVISION. Again, a tier 3 down does simplify the process of getting the mega creeps here, especially since they're doing this without Aegis. And you do manage to hit this timing out. Big timing for the Razor, of course. We'll refresh up for Crystallis. Double Link, double BKB, double Eye of the Storm. Just a lot more presence in the middle of these team fights. And again, for AVULUS, I'm trying to recall, I don't think we've seen Sibe use a Doom yet. Mind you, again, it's a hard game to figure out who to go for on the Doom to even clear out the Lotuses and the Lincolns, but at some point we have to see that come out.
Sibe. Get caught in this ancient camp. There are a couple heroes around from PARIVISION, but it seems like they'll head the other way. Crystal's going to see Stormstorm on the high ground. Stormstorm being very annoying, just constantly keeping this top wave pushed in, not allowing the push to come in, PARIVISION. Keeping back to the base though, AVULUS looking to set up for another big defense here against PARIVISION. Maybe even a gank attempt, but it's very hard because just so many good wards scouting out these rotations from AVULUS. So they try to sneak up on DM, but DM just going to see them walking by. Meanwhile, mid though, they do at least catch Ducalis. Every kill matters right now for the side of AVULUS, so Stormstorm are going to be a pretty happy boy.
Yeah, 621 gold for a pause 5 Ogre. He'll take that on Lina right now. And again, it's this moment where we have to see if the stall was worth it for AVULUS. Was it worth it to just kind of surrender some of your racks? Can you play out of this position? Because right now, PARIVISION, they have to wait until next Roche. They have to wait for an overextension in AVULUS. So far, they've been very disciplined. Again, maybe AVULUS hasn't been catching stuff under smokes, but they're also not giving away any big kills. Not since the last 10 minutes, it feels like. So they are keeping themselves relatively well in this game.
DM looking to jump in, but don't jump in first instead. Who have they got? Sibe, he's all in by himself. He will drop.
Doom again.
He could not really get the Doom off. Now Stormstorm are being spotted to boot, but we'll be able to get away for now as they'll pop the Stampede. PARIVISION, unsure what they really want to do. It just seems like they want to relocate just in case AVULUS was still coming at them. But that was not the case. Now you've got 45 seconds without Sipe available. Might be time to just go ahead and secure those megas.
Yeah, nothing holding them back. No threat of Doom. It's all down to whether or not you can get that damage out from Stormstormer and get the control out with Eki here.
Nice BKB. He's not risking anything. I mean, they can blow him up pretty much instantaneously if they get the lockdown, so he cannot afford to wait for the BKB usage.
No. And again, his itemization is very much on point here for Crystallis. Going double defensive item, even stat res, just to ensure he's not going to get caught out easily with that refresh that he just picked up. We've got a minute left until the next Roche. PARIVISION can set up for it. Down bot, of course. Already having a 9 class just run around that area. And they have that wave in their advantage with the racks taken away. For AVULUS, it's so hard when Siva is trying to make these plays and can't even hammer in the Doom. It's just, you need that Doom to provide the angle in, to simplify these fights. It's also difficult for Eki to look for the Hex and Shackle combination play, or even just the Hex. Worrying about the Lotus, worrying about the Lincolns, whether or not PARIVISION is going to be able to throw those out, so it just makes it difficult to commit. And again, Parry, they take the lead back 4K. It's growing back their way once more after evening out for a little bit. They're hitting their big late game strides, like full overwhelming blink up for no one.
Lane. No one. Would love to find that Lina. Stormstorm is okay though. We'll retreat once again. They'll just TP right back towards the Dire Triangle now. Not wanting to be alone here up against AVULUS. AVULUS hanging around the Dire jungle. Still sticking on to that northern side of the map. PARIVISION, they are making their way over as 5. Slowly but surely. Looks like Ducalis has a smoke ready to go. Roshan is up, keep in mind. So a pretty big objective for either side. Even an amp damage rune to be found by the side of rather PARIVISION and no one.
I mean, you're getting blessed again. Gabe's blessing arrives here for PARIVISION. They might not even bother with Roche with his DD rune up, with his amp damage rune. Smoked up, looking for someone to shove back the wave. They've got the right idea. You know, if they're going to take Roshan, whatever, we'll just clean up the high ground. If not, we'll fight you on the high ground anyway.
Absolutely. Just going to rush in with the smoke. Range racks already about to drop, but they'll get the glyph off in time to protect. No one going to jump in. Seneko in big trouble. Will survive just a little bit longer as they'll try to jump in on no one. He's been doomed up. But can they kill him? It doesn't seem like it. No one's still just manning up against Smiling Knight, and Smiling Knight's the one to go down. Meanwhile, Seneko just trapped in the middle of nowhere, trying to sprink his way out. Stormstormer chased right to the fountain, but Chrysalis, he couldn't quite finish the job off. Stormstormer barely surviving thanks to a Glimmer Cape usage from Eki. Meanwhile, DM forced to back away, but they have time now to just go for the racks. This DM will not get blown up here on the Centaur. And GG is called. Smiling Knight, he's seen enough. A nice attempt from AVULUS in that final fight, but PARIVISION just every step of the way had their number.
Yeah, it really felt like a little bit of an outclass here from the side of PARIVISION, right? Like, they had such a great read of where they were playing on the map. Didn't look too bad last time around. They were finding a little bit better in creep score at very least, but you have a lot more play. You've got Stormstorm on the puck that you and I were kind of looking for in that last draft. Does kind of slide through in the QoP matchup. Should be a lot better for him up against no one. I am just keen on seeing whether or not they can slow down the Spectre. Again, this off lane from AVULUS should just crush the Spectre lane, double melee into Pango Nyx. Not going to be the greatest of times. It's not like Spectre's the most active hero that can really make use of a Naga support either. So that is something that will hold you back here on the side of Parry. We shall see. Stormstormer already camping mid, hoping to break a smoke. Doesn't quite do so, but does maybe spot it outside, as they're already tipping each other.
PARIVISION really wrapping around quite a long way around with this smoke. I mean, they did see Stormstormer trying to see if there's a ward in that mid lane. And PARIVISION just going to wrap all the way around through the top lane, through the dire jungle. Just hold that banner in spot, perhaps. They'll see Seneko very soon. Smoke broken, Seneko will see them, but there's a lot of heroes, way too many to deal with here. Seneko will try to heal up with the Nature's Attendants, but the drag in from Ducalis gonna make it very hard for him to get away. Seneko's still healing up, but it's not enough. 9 class able to secure first blood on the Batrider. At the very least, I suppose you get 3 banner wins on AVULUS.
Yeah, 3 for 1 for first blood. You take that in PARIVISION, especially since it gets into the Batrider. A quicker farm for 9 class, a little bit more EXP always feels good for the pause for Bat. Take a look at that mid lane just a bit. Again, this lane matchup for Stormstormer should work out well. Up against a QoP, with your innate, just dodging out some spells is going to feel really good for Stormstormer. It's going to be very easy to sustain through the lane. And the window for no one to really pump up damage onto Stormstormer, it's not that wide until as it goes on. The first 2 levels are pretty good for him. That's where you should seek to maximize, but past that point, Stormstormer should be relatively fine here. I'm very curious to see if the side of AVULUS start to play around that rotation potentially we're talking about in the last game as we take a pause for a bit of a Monkey King bug.
Yeah. You know, rotation potential, I mean, maybe not as important this game around. We'll have to wait and see what they do try and prioritize here at AVULUS, but at very least the puck should be a little bit, I'd say a little bit better to play here in this game number 2 than say the Lena was in game 1. PARIVISION completely disconnecting everyone, so quick resets for them. Hello, Stormstormer. So Stormstormer, a very nice guy. We've had the pleasure of talking to him maybe once or twice, but he's very well spoken and always happy.
That he is. I'm sure he's one of the foundations for AVULUS to try to mentally reset into this game. You know, he's like, guys, I didn't have the best games.
Look at that smile.
Yeah, he's definitely reset. That's,
you can't love
this
guy. You can't not love this guy.
Yeah. He's such a goofy fellow. Great to talk with.
That's $1 million smile, John.
Yeah.
No goofiness here.
Yeah, I mean, you need that kind of guy, right? Like, pump up the spirits. He's getting his team happy, and it's like, guys, it's fine. We gave it an easy game 1. We're going to take an easy game 2.
He's the kind of guy. He's the kind of guy to say it's my fault after a game. That's the kind of guy he is. I appreciate that. Bottom lane, Eki may not appreciate this because he's being chased by Chrysalis. But he will be okay to retreat. Still a lot of damage being dealt the way of the Nyx Assassin.
Yeah, they've also managed to take a chunk away from Crystallis at the very least. Again, this bot lane, I'm a little bit surprised PARIVISION's finding angles onto the double melee. I guess it goes both ways. You're also in the firing line here for AVULUS. You are relatively tankier with a Nyx and Pango though, so you get to poke back a little bit better. It's not going to be the smoothest going for Crystallis. Then again, you're really just looking to build up farm. As long as you're not being contested too hard, you're still relatively happy on a Spectre here overall.
Seneko, of course, top lane, going to be there. Is Monkey King against 9 class and DM. Of course, we saw Smiling Knight last game in the Alchemist not having the greatest of times, but between the Monkey King might have an easier time because he's not under as much pressure to hit certain timings to make the hero work. As you can see, Seneko has not been having the greatest time here against the 9-class Bat Rider, and it's not the most fun of matchups for him. 9-class just going to ensure there's no shenanigans happening with these stacks in the small cap. And already, the landing stage, it does feel already a little bit better for AVULUS, at least than say, last game.
That it does. I mean, again, in the last game, their laning phase, in terms of controlling the lane, in terms of finding some creep farm, wasn't too bad. This time around, we are seeing some pressure kick in at the very least. Again, that bot lane's been their best bet. They've done a great job of just ensuring Crystallis, you know, he's not the comfiest. They managed to pop him down quite a fair bit every single time, forcing some regen onto him. At the very least, being passed around from Ducalis, so hurting the economy of Naga support. You're not getting that early value from the Naga support as well, trying to play with the End Snare, trying to play with Deluge. There's really nothing to amp up. So you're happy to roll here on Zibe. Just slow pokes, you get shield crash, you get swash, shove out the wave. As long as you block off pulse, you're happy.
And at the very least, Crystallis being stuck on 7 and 4 in terms of CS. They're not having the hottest start in the world for this laning stage. These two in the mid lane, however, very even. Stormstormer and No One, both 16 in terms of CS at the moment. As Stormstormer going to try and get a little bit of harass off on his way out.
Well, this'll work.
In a much more even matchup at the mid lane this game around. Of course, Stormstormer understands how to play the puck very, very well. No One trying to harass, but obviously the puck is going to have a very easy time just juking out those Screaming Pains every single time.
Yeah, just you're always going to win out that trade when you do dodge. Again, with the innate, a little bit of a chase down top, just a little bit of poke. But again, trying to apply some pressure on both sides. They've done a great job of just holding back Seneko. I think 9-class again. He's been doing fantastic work in just chasing down, ensuring no pulls come in. You do still have the creep utility there for Seneko. But beyond that, you know, maybe you can start to pressure onto DM if you can start to get some slows off with the enchant. It's just difficult when you're forced to manage your creeps as well.
No One going to be able to take the water rune, and Ducalis does find the other. So Stormstorm getting both water runes denied from him. A lot of damage being dealt here from No One to boot. The PARIVISION very, very good at just ensuring these runes cannot go the way of AVULUS' mid. Eki, in fairness, was there, but just could not quite hold it against the Naga Siren. Stormstormer dropping very low now. No One getting so aggressive seeing the openings. And he'll leave him on about, well, I say 1 HP, 1 right click away from dying. As Stormstormer, he'll stick around, he'll be alive, but it's not going to be a very easy time. No One has jumped in. Stormstormer, can he turn it? No One, he'll survive. Oh boy, this is a very evenly matched mid lane at the moment, I'll tell you what.
I love what No One's doing. Like, he's waiting, he's watching the spell usage out from Stormstormer. When he sees the orb, he knows there's no way he can kind of shift back. He goes for that aggressive play. Level 1 cooldown on phase shift is long enough that there are windows there for the puck to play. Again, in this matchup, you'd expect maybe a little bit more coming out for Stormstormer. He is getting that in terms of CS at the least, but No One is not resting on that pressure. So it's good signs overall for the side of Parry. We even saw bot lane again, some pressure onto the solo lane for Sibe. Not able to really find a kill as he is tanky, but you are seeing the willingness of PARIVISION to try to push things around here early on.
So they should. Smile Knight still having a very good time up at top lane on the MK. 28 and 9 in terms of CS. Not struggling whatsoever against DM. DM, of course, having a very good lane himself. No pressure being applied from Smiling Knight because you do have the Bat Rider support to always push you away if you are trying to move in. 10 seconds away from those 6-minute power rune timings. We'll see if they can deny them away once again from Stormstormer, as No One going to already be fighting Eki over the bottom side. Stormstormer going to jump in, and it's going to spawn top once again as Eki's going to go down. No One claiming a very quick kill plus a ward. Stormstormer at least trying to force him away, and we'll be able to do so. But the rune is going to probably, it is going the way of Stormstormer. Happy days. Yeah. I thought they might have had a support up there from PARIVISION.
No, I think they're just kind of stuck trying to help DM. Like 9-class isn't really getting the room out to leave that lane alone. Because again, there's some high kill potential there with Monkey and Ench. So you do just have to protect, ensure that the farm and EXP is flowing. It does cost quite a fair bit on No One to secure that kill. He did have to expend some mana and has to regen back. So there's no threat onto Stormstormer. has the coil ready if they want to try something here.
They're going to move in. Eki, Impale is right on the edge. Problem is, 9 class is right by the T2 tower. This is a bit of a scary place to try and force a fight. AVULUS, they will at least secure the 7-minute Wisdom Rune. 9 class still chipping away at Seneko. But ultimately they will lose the Wisdom Rune on the bottom side. Luckily for them though, Ducalis was able to pick up the other, so it's not the biggest of losses. Ducalis though, can he get away? Zibe still chasing down. Salve was up. Ducalis will throw in the ensnare. Zibe actually going to give up on the chase, so Ducalis evening out the Wisdom Runes for his side of the map, and well, happy days, doesn't even die for it.
He doesn't die. That gives a ton of space out to Crystallis in a solo lane. Your Spectre's farming up, trying to recover after a little bit of a slower time in the lane. And you're, again, very happy on the side of Parry. You're getting everything you'd want. You're building into these early timings. You've got the Ags being built up for DM. You've got the Dagon, typical for no one, on the Quap. And you've got the Blade Mail for Crystallis to get some early activity on as well. So, smooth going so far. For the side of AVULUS, you maybe start to expect something to come out. Again, we're looking at that Dream Coil timing ready on Stormer. Just doesn't feel like his system around him is fully ready. You're level 4 on Eki, at least you have the value point in the Spike Carapace to try to set up and follow through stun. It's a little bit forward here from Stormer. Does have the haste.
He'll be just fine to just farm this area. No real threat to him. Witch's Blade almost online for the puck. Excuse me, I meant treads. That's what I was meant to say. Thanks for the correction, John. PARIVISION. Still 2-0. Still well and truly having a great old time. No stress for them whatsoever. At the very least, I think AVULUS, though, sitting pretty, knowing that the laning siege has gone rather evenly for themselves as well. Eki, of course, just mindful and creeps, allowed to just farm the jungle for now. One of my favorite things to do, personally, as a Nyx Assassin player.
Yeah, I mean,
this is all I do, in fact.
There's really nothing else to do right now anyhow. Again, you need the levels to be up. You've got the Rolling Thunder ready at the very least on Sibe, but doesn't really have anyone to connect with unless Stormer gets the movement down. But they are in a position to maybe bully out Crystallis here if they could dive beneath that tier 1, but again, not looking to get too spicy early on. Meanwhile, you look at PARIVISION, opposite side of the map, all up top, gathered around that tier 1 as well. And this siege, if they were to commit to it, is going to be slightly faster, of course, for Parry. They've got the boars. Level 1 boar is not amazing, but they do have the damage to sustain through a push there.
Crystallis will avoid the rotations from AVULUS. Does just hide in the Roshan pit, though. Top lane, Ducalis could be in a spot of danger, but he is prepped to tank the gank here for DM, and in fact, the mirror images will give enough vision. Storming out, jumped in. 2-man curl is out. The rotations are incoming. AVULUS, they want the fight, but a nice roar on the Rolling Thunder, not allowing the follow-up. The Stormer forced to barely get away. No one. Has he gone too deep? Maybe they can at least have the Quap. No one going to get tipped here by Seneko, as he will go down, and Stormer will barely survive.
That was on edge for Stormer. That does waste out quite a fair few things from both sides. Not that you really mind wasting the Wukongs, but it wastes some time from Parry. They don't manage to find the kills. They're still hunting here.
Yeah, 9 class going to drop. Zibe sees he pick up for himself. 2-2 now is the scoreline, and AVULUS, they are grouping up down to that bottom lane. T1 tower to go down pretty easily here. And already off to a much better start. I can't remember what minute it was they found the T1 towers in the last game. Yeah, it was a long time.
Much quicker this time around, much more proactive as well with the response from AVULUS. And they are slowing down Parry quite a fair bit. Mind you, the big carries, the big heroes on the side of Parry are still getting the farm they need, right? Like this Ags timing coming out on DM, already one part in, has the point booster ready. You've got Crystallis, he's probably the one that's hurting the most on this spec. It doesn't really flash farm all too well until that blade melts up either. So it's not off to the best of starts. In fact, we'll commit on it.
Yeah, mate, this could be a very, very good kill, and it looks like they've got it. Crystallis going to try and jaunt away with the Haunt, but not quite enough. Stormer able to secure a very big kill here for the side of AVULUS. And this is what you love to see if you're an AVULUS fan. The Stormer looking for a little bit more, trying to chase down 9 class, but they really just want that tier 1 mid. Siege creep still up. No defense really incoming from PARIVISION apart from one TP from no one, but I don't know if that's even going to be enough. No one. He's jumped in fact. Rolling Thunder out from Zibe. They're going to move right in onto No One, and if they've got the stuns, he might just be dead, but the Boundless. It was just off the mark, just a little bit too late. It won't matter though, they'll at least take the mid-tier 1 plus 9 classes life. And this is exactly what AVULUS wanted the first game around.
Yeah, they just didn't have the start they'd want. You know, that start for the Lina on Storm Stormer is a little bit too slow. They couldn't connect, couldn't pressure the map. This time around, on the puck, draws out evenly up against that Quap matchup. You managed to work yourself out. You get some good rotations out from Storm Stormer on top. And now you start to take that potential away from Parry. You slow down their pace. You get your own pace going. You've got a great start in Sibe. He's got the full mech up on the Pango, boosting up the durability for his team to sustain through these fights.
Oh, Eki. I mean, I guess it is hard to predict when they're going to scream of pain. They'll go after the Naga Siren instead. Ducalis will go down. This was the feedback I think we saw last Nyx Assassin with Eki. Is the Spike Carapaces were a little bit off the mark, but that's all right. They'll get the kill anyways. 9 class also going to drop from a Smiling Knight. And tips coming out from Eki. He's happy with what he's seeing.
I mean, you're happy enough to get that solo kill again. You're ramping up here on that tempo for AVULUS. Parry is the one that just doesn't look like they're ready this time around. In fact, another smoke out from AVULUS here.
DM, another nice kill. Stormer can find it. Has the Dream Coil. Just going to move in with the Invis. And with that, they are going to try and help. Chrysalis is going to just haunt in.
He's alive.
Yeah, that's a problem. Eki and Seneko both going to drop as Stormer, seeing the writing on the wall, just immediately orbs and TPs out. Says, see ya, boys. The support duo of AVULUS will just be sacrificed for nothing.
That's a little bit of a shame. Killing off DM, slowing down his Ags would have been huge, just lacking damage with their supports coming in there. And you're not going to be asking these questions on the side of Parry. You get back to farming for DM. So we take a look at that replay. They come in, they don't really have Vend up on Eki to try to burst, and the response is just swift from Parry.
I mean, it absolutely is. No one here. Quick smirk. Confused as to why you'd even try. Why do you try that? Why would they do that?
You know, I don't know. They were smoked. They wanted to do something with the Invis Ruin. Pressure gets to you. You know, you feel like you have to commit, and it ends up going sideways. 4-6. 3K lead still up for AVULUS. All this investment coming in onto Sibe, stealing away some stacks.
Oopsies. Ducalis gonna find out the hard way that his triangle is currently occupied. Eki will say thank you very much. Of course, Ancients will be taken by AVULUS as well. A bit of revenge from last game around. I sure do love the aggression. I mean, this is what we were talking about with this side, right? They seem to adapt very quickly after a bad game one. Props to the boys for keeping a high spirit after such a dominant game from PARIVISION as bottom lane now. They are going to find 9 class who's going to try and fight back against Stormer, but a nice jaunt away. The Shadow Step from Crystalis not really going to mean too much, as now DM could be in danger knowing the Shadow Step is down. They want to try again around this area. Ducalis, meanwhile, reeling in the Pangolier with the roar out from DM, locking him down. But Zibe is still completely alive. But here, not anymore. Not anymore. No one shows up and gets the job done. Smiling Knight at least gets the TP away in time.
Oh, that song, if it was just half a second earlier, could have caught out that TP. Finally getting some punishment out again on Parry. I appreciate the aggression from AVULUS, but it doesn't feel like these angles are lining up necessarily. They've found kills on 9 class. They've tried to bully out the cores. The cores are just not falling apart. And when half of your kills are just on 9 class, you're not feeling the most satisfied there in AVULUS. Like, yes, you've stalled out the Batrider Blink, but the Spectre is starting to catch up. Again, you've got the Ags timing for DM, and no one is just starting to take over with that Dagon up.
Eki having a gander. Oh, DM. The classic Nyx Assassin treatment. I mean, he even saw him underneath the sentry running right towards him, but couldn't do much about it, as they'll try to at least get Eki, and they do. No one. In a bit of danger here to Seneco's impetus shots, and now the Dream Core to lock him down means he's in a lot of danger, but he gets the blink away just barely as they move on to Ducalis instead. A 2-for-1 trade. Eki would be smiling from the grave.
Oh yeah, that's a big one to trade away for. You find DM, you find a core and a support for just your lonely Nyx. You maintain this lead on AVULUS, and again, you maintain that pressure. They're still playing across the map. I don't think we've seen AVULUS sit back and farm on their side of the river in at least 5 minutes, it feels like. They've been so active all across, even dragging in Smiling Knight to get these moves out. And again, this is what you kind of expected in Game 1 if they had a stronger start. Certainly are executing this time around. For the side of Pari, I mean, it's touch and go, right? It feels like you need that Blink on 9 class, although he will get a lasso.
Oh, big jump in from no one. A lot of damage being dealt to Stormstormer's way, but he does get out. They'll have to just take Seneko instead. Stormstorm are more than happy to just escape that scenario. So they'll walk away with a 3k advantage on AVULUS' side. PARIVISION not too far behind, but certainly looking to just take the easiest picks they can get.
Yeah, you're not pressured on Parry to play too quickly. Mind you, your lineup does scale into a very nice point, let's say 2025. If you do keep farm parity for the most part here, you still have a lot to grow into for Crystallis. You've got a lot of utility you can go for on Ducalis as well. And with the Ags up on DM, the only key thing you're really waiting for now is that Blink. If you can get the Blink roars off, anyone is an easy target to look for from the side of AVULUS. For AVULUS' part, again, no rest, smoke up.
Oh, Eki. Never popped the Vendetta. Now it does. Ducalis gets a sentry down, but it won't matter. It's Crystallis. We'll move in with the Shadow Step, but does get immediately out. He's on his own. He just has a Blade Mail. He can't do much right now.
Yeah, it's a decent enough pick-off. Again, you want to maintain that aggression out from AVULUS. They're still playing across the river. Parry is just kind of forced to be a little bit more clumped up than they'd like to be. They're all hugging this bot jungle area. Triangle, they're not able to maintain stacks whatsoever to try to enable Crystallis to have this faster build-up into the Radiance. And it's just heads up this time from the side of AVULUS. No rest for the Wicked. Constantly going in. And setting up nicely. Again, this timing is lining up. The Gleipnir's not too far off now for Smiling Knight. You've got your Shard eventually coming in here for Stormstormer with a little bit more damage to play with. And it just becomes a little bit tougher. For Parry, again, this double blink timing on 9 class and DM is pretty much key for you to start to get easier control up here, as you just need to find a way to jump in and insta-burst someone down to start to feel good here.
Okay. AVULUS, they are grouped up as 3 in the mid lane, it looks like. PARIVISION, they're grouping up around the Radiant Triangle. Well, they see no one, but can they get the jump? The Boundless is out, but a nice lasso going to put an end to all of it as now the Song committed as well. The Rolling Thunder's still going, though. Still trying to catch out no one on the Queen of Pain, but there's no follow-up damage. The Song held everyone else back. No one's still walking away, but Stormstormer on the chase will choose to go after DM instead. DM still alive, though, as no one dropping in for a Sonic Wave, but gets avoided immediately. Seneko heads out a tip mid-team fight. DM in the meantime still trying to run. He'll be alright. But the aggression from AVULUS this game around is just proving to be a little bit too much for PARIVISION to try and deal with.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like that's the way PARIVISION would have wanted that fight. 9 class goes for Blink Lasso, but they're forced to use the Song because there's too many people to try to play off the back if it doesn't have a Force Staff to reposition off of that either. And it's just a little bit too much. Maybe if you start with the Song first, you change the sequence of events, stop them from running in first, and then look for the lasso afterwards. It feels like everything's a lot easier to manage, but the timings just don't work out. Again, very clean this time around from AVULUS to get off this punishment out. Very clean of them to constantly dodge out when no one's looking for this aggression. And when no one can't hammer in with this burst, he is your early tempo. You are not expecting much from Crystallis. And what you can hope for from DM is a roar and maybe sustained damage if he survives through. Right now, not the most survivable yet on our Beastmaster, considering how tanky he was earlier relative to everyone else.
Yeah, Stormstormers have been having a very, very good performance here in Game 2, and this is what kind of no one was saying as well. Stormstorm are proving to be one of the better mids right now at ESL One Bangkok, and what this game kind of proves, when he is dominant, it is very hard to slow him down. T2 top tower to drop. No one's still just trying to farm the mid lane in the meantime, but you're kind of running out of ideas, I feel like, for PARIVISION. I mean, on the bright side, Crystallis is still farming, but you look at his net worth, it's 8.1k, it's still very far behind. He hasn't been able to really follow up off the back of some raw initiations on some single targets. I think we saw the one very early on in the game, but that was about it. It's been pretty tough to run this drop.
That it has been. Again, it's down to the fact that they lost triangle control very early on in Parry. They've not been able to give these stacks out to Crystallis, and that just slows down the rest of his timing. Radiant still yet to be finished up. Does have enough gold for at least for the Sacred Relic. So that's one component down, but still more to go. And even then, just with the Radiance, you're not going to be comfy yet on this spec. You need so much more to start scaling up. At the least, the double blinks are up. We finally have it completed on DM. So connect with 9 class. Now it's just a matter of, can you actually catch anyone out? Now, a kill onto Smiling Knight, if you can somehow isolate him away, or a surprise catch onto Stormer would make all the difference here if you get the backup out from Crystallis.
Momentum to be taken here by AVULUS. Iki will get the shards
That's
up.
a big free shard.
Yeah, he'll be very happy with that one.
It's already a rough game here for Crystallis, having to deal with a break on hand very early on. Not going to be very satisfied on that Spectre here.
Top lane Stormer once again. Very quick reactions here, just blinking away from 9 class before the lasso connects. And Eki, he wants a kill attempt once again with the Vendetta. And he might just have it. 9 class has no choice in the matter. Spike Carapace going to make it impossible to get away. And I'll tell you what, considering the last game we saw of the Knicks for Eki wasn't exactly amazing, this game has been fantastic for him.
Yeah, it looks like he's finally woken up to get things done on the Knicks, and he didn't even have to have the Darkseer lane, right? Like, just the Pango Knicks lane was already good enough. He's landing all of his spells, he's setting up, he's already got the Dagon up at level 1. He's feeling pretty damn good with the burst damage and the threats they have on the map. 7-14, 11k up for AVULUS, and Parry, I mean, it's just a matter of time. Whether or not that time is enough for them in this game, we'll have to see. At the least, you've got a BKB coming out for no one. That's a start to have the Quap not be in the firing line, which he does jump in. There is a lot more leeway for when no one does commit. But whether or not you have the follow-through damage from the set of control to clear out more than one hero, we'll have to see, because right now it doesn't feel like we're getting that. At least not until DM's comfy, not until you get more stats up in Crystallis.
See some action mid lane, Stormer. If he gets lassoed, and they do catch him this time. They've got him this time around. The pesky puck will finally go down, and I think that would have felt very good for no one.
Yeah, that's what he's been looking for this entire game. No tips to come out. Again, considering what we heard no one say, he respects Stormer the heck out of it. The heck out of his play. They have room here in AVULUS to try to clear out Roche. They are getting that done. No vision from the side of Parry, so it should be a freebie coming out here. It is taking a little bit of time. Side of Parry just taking map control off the back of that kill. Eki?
Doesn't get the Spike Carapace set up, and I don't think he would have jumped anyway. It's a bit too scary against the Quap with an amp damage rune active. He is keeping tabs though on no one. He still wants to go if he has a +1 nearby. Smiling Knight did TP as soon as he possibly could after the Roshan attempt, but won't find no one. Still does have the Aegis up though now, and AVULUS of course sitting in a very strong position. It's like PARIVISION looking to slowly siege in that top lane. Mid lane in the meantime, 9 class has been caught out and he should drop very quickly. Meanwhile, though, Stormer caught once again, this time by DM, and Crystallis will go down. Can they find some kind of straggler? Oh, Smiling Knight!
Didn't commit.
I don't know if he lost vision there for a moment or... Yeah, maybe just kind of hesitating there for a second, but it costs him.
Would have been a nice kill to have to compensate for losing Stormer, but I'm liking what PARIVISION's doing. They're using 9 class as bait. He's out in the middle of nowhere with no one around him, and they make use of that space to get another kill onto the puck to even out the game just a tad bit more. 9-15, still the 8k lead for AVULUS, and again, they've just taken Roshan. They've got a 4-minute Aegis still up and running, ready to go on Smiling Knight if he can start to find some connections, which it looks like they might be.
Eki might have a free kill on his hands, but Crystallis is around the corner if need be. Smiling Knight is there, however, as well, so he can do nothing as 9 class will once again go down to Eki. Zippe is saying hello to DM in the meantime in the mid lane, but obviously not going to be able to commit on his own. Seems to be the key for PARIVISION. Every single time you can just pick off Stormer, it does open up much more opportunity for your side. But now, with the group up down at this bottom lane and the Aegis up on Smiling Knight, things could be rather hard in terms of a defense if they do want to commit. It's like Zippe is still looking into mid, seeing if somebody will show up to clear out the creep wave. Ducalis is there, but he's just hiding in the tree line, not really giving the vision over to the other side. Stormer happily going to take the regen rune away at the 26-minute mark to boot. And then while this has been happening, Seneko secures the bottom tier 2 tower.
And again, they've been set up for that with Smiling Knight. No one shows up to defend, no fight, just a nice clean tower take. PARIVISION just trying to look for time and space to get into that BKB of DM and to get into at least the Manta here for Crystallis to be a bit more comfy. Still, AVULUS not resting. Smoked up once more. We'll show it on Smiling Knight at the least, but they've got time to try to hunt up top here.
I'd love Crystallis. Nice TP away though. He senses something is wrong. Does back out at the right moment, and so will DM. So no cores left up at that top side of the map. The smoke, chances are nothing really going to come out of it. AVULUS, I mean, they could just group up and continue to just try and force in towers, but you are starting to look towards those tier 3 towers now if you are AVULUS. High ground might still be considered a little bit scary.
That it is. I mean, you've got Roar, you've got Lasso back, you've got Song for the resets here on Parry. Their high ground hold can be quite strong. That, and you also did commit Coil from Stormer in trying to catch out DM a while ago. So you need some time to cool down a bit. You do still have extra time on your Aegis still left. 1:40, not the most time. You could still work a team fight here somehow.
Oh, Snako throwing into DM. DM immediately going to roar, but Storm is here as well. They'll lock them down with a Gleipnir from Smiling Knight. Sonic Wave to push him out of the ring, though. A very nice one from No One. Maybe salvaging the fight. Still DM solo, but the song now. Ducala's going to put an end to everything. Allow the team to TP away. And can he get away? No, he cannot. Crystallis even going down in the meantime. So it's still not a great situation for PARIVISION, but at least they make sure it doesn't get too much worse.
No, they certainly do manage to mitigate the losses. Their trades aren't amazing, but you can see the instant commitment out from PARIVISION, right? Like, they're just trying to look for any kill they can take, considering the slower game.
He's going to try. I mean, he's got a Plasma up, so he's doing a lot of damage. And No One's just copping it, but now a Lasso out from 9 class, trying to pick him off. No One. An aggressive blink in, still having a look for this puck. No One will die. Storm is still running. In comes the cavalry now. Smiling Knight to just jump in. DM needs to get out. BKB popped to at least allow him to walk away, but they'll still lose 2 for the price of nothing. Stormer again just creating so much opportunity for his team.
AVULUS have woken up in this game too. Just everything on point, still being aggressive on Stormer. Like, this is a puck without anything defensive up against Lasso Roar. We've seen Stormer get punished for it. He still doesn't care. He knows what he has to do for his team, and he knows how far away he can get with it. And Parry, when you don't have at least the Bat Rider up, it just feels uncomfy to try to fully commit with just a Roar, especially with no one down. Aegis does expire, which holds back AVULUS from that full siege. But they are, again, setting up. They've got forward vision onto the high ground now. Got to take time to de-ward that on Parry. And things are looking good. 13k lead, 10-20. PARIVISION, they've got to find a way to reel it back in. They've got to ensure that this investment into the late game with Crystallis pays off. But right now, the Spectre just feels like a non-issue.
Yeah, it certainly has not felt like Crystallis can really do too much in this game yet. I mean, he's getting towards the Manta style, so getting to a stage where he can start to think about fighting back, but they really would have preferred to just have those single target kind of pickoffs early on to really escalate out of control. AVULUS grouping up down to the bottom side of the map again, but PARIVISION were ready for it on the high ground. So AVULUS, they'll go for a 3-man smoke. Like, make that a 5-man smoke. No vision from PARIVISION to scout that smoke out.
DM.
Oh, he's going to get caught. Stormer. Dreamcore committed. Gleipnir to lock him down. DM forced the BKB and go for the Roar onto the puck. They'll try for the fight. Can they blow Stormer up? DM is down. The puck is still perfectly fine. They've got to run. It's not safe. Ducala's in trouble. No way out of that one. Just so much emphasis on trying to catch Stormer. But it's just not happening.
No. I mean, you have to layer their stuns perfectly. They do have some defenses that they can pass around. There is a Lincoln's up on Smiling Knight that he can toss onto his puck if need be. And again, AVULUS are just executing as an actual team. We did not see any of this kind of movement be successful whatsoever in the last game. It all connects this time around, and they hit their timings. Mid-rack's gone, bot set to go. This is them pushing in without Aegis, as Roshan is still a minute away until we see that timer. There's just no play for Parry. They need to get the Roar Lasso out, but when they're grouped up as 5 on AVULUS, it's just so hard to see that happening.
Smoke out, PARIVISION, they're going to try for a defense. Lasso is available. 9 class just going to find the right target, but Stormer just outright breaks the smoke immediately. No One, he jumped in, but the silence was immediate.
Oh my god.
Oh, No One's gone. And now the rest of them jumped in. XD from Seneko.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, he drops the XD. I'm not going to lie, I probably would have done that as well, John. There you go, 9 class down. I love me an XD. And with that, I think Seneca's trying to tell them, guys, it's time to call it. Game 3 is coming. DM is still trying to fight this one out. Raw is committed. They'll try onto Eki, but where's the damage?
Nowhere.
GG is called. They've seen enough. Game 3 between PARIVISION and AVULUS, Jonathan. That's what we've got ahead of us.
Yeah, it's a great showing from AVULUS. Again, game 1, it didn't look like they even really got to play Dota there. This time around, they managed to get Eki this Nyx. He looks a lot better in that Nyx in comparison to even the other days. And
Next for an MLP.
Thank you so much, Tsunami. We will get into it. It is now officially a best of 1 to decide who does secure top 3. What is it, John?
wrong hero, says Crystallis.
Wrong hero for who? Well, for who? Is he joking?
I don't think so. I think they're just memeing each other.
Okay.
Probably.
I hope so.
Probably. I'm pretty sure he's just memeing.
Okay.
Perhaps, you know.
All right, all right.
I mean, this does look like a very interesting back and forth game for you, right? Like you have to deal with Nyx on one hand, 9 class gets to pick it up. Eki seems happy enough to give it away this time around.
Oh, here we go.
And I'm very curious to see how this one goes, because it does feel like there's a lot of good answers from both sides, right? Like you've got RP, you've got Roar coming out from PARIVISION, you've got the Nyx that can be disruptive. At the same time, on AVULUS, Black Hole's always great, although it's on a pause 5 Enigma, it's not going to be easiest to look for the big ones. The Slark into Bristleback we've seen before. I think it was Mike who did go for that Mage Slayer build, which did reduce the damage, do a lot of work in that matchup up against the Bristle. And as a Bristle, you walking into a Lion lane's never fun. So there's some good answers in each side. It's all really down to execution. I think both sides are pretty happy with their drafts.
All I'm hoping for is a good game 3 here between these two sides. Again, winner of this one will make it to top 3 of ESL One Bangkok. And of course, they do have a date indeed with Bet Boom sometime later on. AVULUS, PARIVISION hanging about that bottom bounty rune spot. PARIVISION wants to go for a fight already. Stormstorm are going to show himself. Eki will as well. This could be a nice start here for PARIVISION. Eki in trouble already. A big slow from Sipe, and that's actually going to be enough. They can't quite get the lockdown to take Eki out. So nothing really being lost here for the side of AVULUS, as they will be able to get to their lanes.
Yeah, at the very least, a 3 bounty rune start coming out here for Parry. All things considered, it's still going to be nice and happy. Of course, taking a look at the 9 class with the level 1 Mind Flare, just sniping away to range creep, already setting up to keep it shoved. Mind you, he is not going to be able to do much about Seneco's Eidolons for sure. That pressure is down to DM, trying to clear out perhaps with the Axis. Otherwise, Seneko, if he can isolate out 9 class, can just bully out the Nyx, he's just going to have to feed through sniping out these range creeps, and DM is going to be left to fend for himself for the most part, which you can do on the Beastmaster, but it's not going to feel great.
Yeah, I mean, not much 9 class can do apart from creep pull at the moment, and that seems like that's exactly what he will do. And speaking of not being able to do much, no one is playing Magnus against Viper. And well, we heard the panel talking about how uncomfortable this matchup should be for no one. And well, I can't imagine a way that no one actually wins this matchup.
No.
Like, surely no way.
Yeah, it's just impossible. The Viper is going to have a great old time. You have the Poison Burst facet as well, so you just constantly twack away at no one, and he's not going to feel great. Maybe Rune Control will help just a tad bit. Say, denying off a Water Rune to stop Stormer from having the mana would be one way to mitigate some of that pressure, but whether or not you can leave the side lanes just for that is a different matter altogether. So it's just going to be rough for the Magnus. You could try to recover. Maybe you get some room out to stack and kind of go from there, but your stacking support isn't amazing in the Nyx in the triangle. It's not going to be the smoothest of times to try to work out those resources.
Absolutely not. Of course, bottom lane, Eki and Sipe are going to be up against Ducalis and Crystallis. And well, this should be a pretty safe lane for Crystallis, if not a very aggressive one, up against the Dawnbreakers. Top lane, Seneko is going to get jumped. A nice impel setup from 9 class. They are lacking damage, though. Seneko can just casually walk out, though DM now joining in, can throw some more axes out, and Seneko barely survives as Smiling Knight still fighting against 9 class. But happy to see his Enigma has not fed away first blood.
Yeah, does manage to survive. You've got 5 tangos left for Seneko. So he's going to be able to recover just fine, play that lane still, but I'm liking this identification of pressure out below.
Seneko, Maleficus out. He's still got a bit of space to run. Smiling Knight now trying to get 9 class instead. The old Uno Reverso, but he does have to back out.
You're stuck in an awkward position now for Parry. You do not have mana to try to clean up Seneko. Seneko has tangos to just hang in the lane, get some D-wards, and still provide some assistance out to Smiling Knight. So you've burnt through your entire mana pool. It's going to be a little bit rough to sustain that pressure. Let's see if they manage to at least get themselves the Lotus down the line to give themselves something to play with.
Seneca's actually going to go for a fight over it. Mineclass, though, has an easy impel, and Seneca, this might just be wishful thinking. Yeah, he's gone. First blood the way of Nineclass, and I can appreciate the attempt, but the impel was always going to be there, so Seneko just going to have to get the reset through the fountain.
Yeah, he does waste some time, I suppose. He did grab the Lotus Way and did eat it up, so he's still relatively happy, but did not need to feed that bonus out. Nineclass going to be feeling himself just a little bit after a slower lane. And you get some space out as well, again, for DM. A little bit of a chase down bot. Again, level 3 up for Crystallis, but not the healthiest mana pool. You're dealing with Essence Eater Lion, of course. You don't tend to have fun as a Bristle back in that kind of lane with no mana.
It is relatively tough. It's going to allow Zippe to farm very effectively on the Dawnbreaker. Just really no stress for him, as Crystallis will never really have the mana pool to actually chase down this Dawnbreaker and spam out those Quill Sprays. So Zippe already having a very strong start in this off lane. Eki, of course, just making life as annoying as humanly possible with that mana drain. Doesn't bother going for level 2 mana drain yet, but he doesn't need it. I mean, the mana pools are so low on these two heroes, you can just kind of get away with this at level 1. Meanwhile, mid, Stormstormer being chased by Nineclass, almost goes down as a skewer from No One, not going to connect in Stormstormer. He'll try to turn back around. No One dropping pretty low, needs one more racket to take him out. Instead, he'll turn towards Nineclass, the Shockwave, but it's not enough. Nineclass will drop. At least he does create the space for No One to walk away. But still, I mean, a nice attempt, I suppose, onto the Viper, trying to... I say salvage the lane. No One really hasn't done that badly. He's actually ahead in CS.
Yeah, I mean, I get the drive to look for some pressure there. Does cost him. Now, DM's alone up top for this kind of play as well. Not the easiest to hammer into, of course, as a Beastmaster. He does have the Helm of Iron Will up, so he's a lot harder to burst down. But it is providing room out for a little bit more play on the other lanes here.
It's like No One might get jumped. Eki making a rotation, but No One does see it. His vision on the right side of that mid lane. Nineclass, of course, giving plenty of solo XP to his BM, just wanting to mind flare creeps whenever the hell he can. As Seneko, you start to question the impact of this position 5 Enigma thus far. Obviously, there's not really too much he can do but try to abuse those Eidolons, and it hasn't been the most effective, I would argue, quite yet. Smiling Knight still having a very free lane.
Yeah, and this Slark is basically free farming. The pressure is not really there from DM and Nineclass. Again, Nineclass has been forced to, or not really forced, but just felt like there was an opportunity mid to slow down Stormstormer, which, again, considering what Stormer did in the last game, he tends to set that tempo. Viper is a very tempo-heavy hero. I do appreciate the ideas from Parry. It's just, it needs to kind of connect. 6-minute rune coming up.
Eki, he'll come in from the left side this time around, knowing there's no vision there, and this time they've got No One. Learned from the first time.
Yeah. And they get to secure that power rune as well. A little bit of an Invis rune top up for Stormstormer, so he can look elsewhere to keep that aggression up. A 1-2 start, a little bit slower, but all the lanes looking pretty smooth for the side of AVULUS, outside of maybe Crystallis getting free farm on the Bristle. But that is something to expect as the levels go up once those quills become a threat. Everyone else is still building up quite nicely here, though, on AVULUS. And I'm curious to see what the solution is from Smiling Knight. He's actually just going for the standard Diffusal Ags build up on the Slark. We're not seeing anything like, say, the Mage Slayer, which, to be fair, the only value there is for is the spell damage on the Bristle, so maybe not the highest priority in this kind of game.
Seneca's actually just pulling Nineclass out of that top lane. So he wants the Wisdom Rune. 7-minute mark, almost there. Nineclass gonna try and fight over it, but there's plenty more heroes incoming to support Seneko. Eki's gonna show up with a nice Earth Spike. Seneko picks up the Wisdom Runes, so they find both of them on the side of AVULUS, and now the jump in onto DM. It's gonna ensure they even find a kill on the Beastmaster, as now Eki does go down. The Blood Grenade barely getting there from Nineclass. And Eki, of course, will hand the tip over.
Yeah, I mean, you find a kill, but you lose both bounties. You're feeling great in AVULUS. It costs a lot of heroes to come in, but you're making it work. You're slowing down this tempo. A Nyx without a Wisdom Rune is a very sad time, right? You don't get that fast 6. You don't get to play around with your Scuttle. you're not going to be hunting down that quickly. The support's getting fast sixes on AVULUS. Threat of Finger, threat of a black hole down the line. Even just a one-man at the early point in the game can be devastating.
High class going to get jumped. Stormstormer, of course, has plenty of damage to follow up with that kill. They want that T1 mid tower early, and with an Enigma on your side, the Eidolons can help quite a lot. No siege creep available here for AVULUS, but they can get away with quite a bit of chip damage, if not just the full T1 tower, because nobody can really contest Stormstormer.
No.
The Viper pick proving to be very effective.
That it is. It's a slow go for Parry. Like, again, you're kind of stuck waiting for that build-up. This blink timing for no one's not going to be quick. His triangle's not that secure. Good forward vision being set up by AVULUS again to keep track. And as long as this mag blink is gone, it's like, how do you play? Level 6 of 9 class is your next best bet. But considering how well this map is warded up from the side of AVULUS, I'm not sure even that works.
Oh, no one. A nice Earth Spike. They were right underneath vision. He'll try for a skewer play to the tier 2, but it is not going to work. In fact, 9 class now also being chased down. Zippe has a Starbreaker, but doesn't even need it. A beautiful ward on the high ground of that Radiant Triangle, and no one was waiting for an RP. He was just waiting for them to get a little bit closer, but AVULUS, they were just baiting the whole time.
Yeah, again, they've got a really great read on this map. They've got really great wards all across, anticipating some of those levels up. The stuns coming out, just enabling that Solar Guardian. No threat of Spite Carapace. 9 class was just donezo. And that was your Nyx pickup to counteract this Dawnbreaker. It's not even coming out that way. First spell use connects nicely. We'll see if they can maintain that down the line, but 2-6, 3k lead for AVULUS. Constantly pressuring onto the mid, taking over the triangle, keeping track of that bottom jungle as well. Almost a repeat of game 1, of game 2. They're just across the river.
Carlos, they know you're there. Maybe no one can try for an RP from the low ground. He does get it. A nice RP, a nice skewer back into the tier 2. Of course, they will still lose Ducalis, but Ducalis almost baiting that for no one, just saying, here, have a freebie. Have an easy one.
Yeah, it's... Yeah, you force out RP. I mean, again, you're not going to see no one get some big ones until it blinks up, but that is still a minute 40 where you're very comfy on AVULUS to just keep controlling the map. Again, they're utilizing this vision game well. You've got the additional vision coming out from Break of Dawn, which has shown time and time and again to be actually pretty damn impactful every single time the daytime switches. And again, it just allows them to play aggressively. Look, no one's playing on the other side of the river. Everyone's on Radiant side. And there's nothing to stop that from PARIVISION.
Top lane, they want to go for more. 3-man smoke up. AVULUS moving towards 9 class, who has already been caught by the pounce of Smiling Knight. Trying to run towards the south, but here comes the Viper. Poor old 9 class, not quite having the Nyx Assassin game he would have hoped for. At least not the start of a good game. And of course now the top tier 1 tower is pretty much a freebie.
Yeah, no contest coming out from Parry. The only thing they're getting is really space out for Crystallis. Like space out for the Bristle. It's still matching the farm on Stormstormer and Smiling Knight, but everyone else is just not really having a game. No one barely keeping up with Sibba's farm. DM so far behind, still had to go back for the Dominator build-up into the Overlord. Again, trying to play with the Wild Hunt facet at the least, but you're not seeing any of that pressure onto towers as well that you're used to seeing from the Beastmaster. Some pressure down bot where it's free, but not really going for the full commit. Maybe now with the numbers here. But again, the damage has been done. Your map is shrinking, and your tier 2 is slowly going to get pressured if you leave it alone as well.
Well, they are trying to push in the bottom tier 1 tower, but Zippe is just doing a very good job of just defending with the Celestial Hammer. Not too much they can really do about it. It's a very slow process down at this bottom side, and now the rotations are incoming. Eki, he's the one to actually get caught, but Stormstormer, he is too big to deal with. They do not want to see that Viper when they're trying to go for a quick pickoff. Chrysalis will get the TP away. Oh, the pounce! Ooh. Unfortunate for Smiling Knight. Meanwhile, mid lane, Seneko will get taken out. No one committing the RP for that one as 9 class will try to escape. Zippe should at least have a bit of a trade, and he will. Seneko finding the kill from the grave.
You can see just how, not really desperate, but how much they need on PARIVISION. That they're willing to just RP onto one Enigma's 5 to just get something going for themselves while the rest of their map is kind of falling apart. It's a big kill for no one to find because that's his blink timing now. The issue is you have to wait for the next RP. Maybe if you can start to play with, say, the skewer backs here, it could start to get a little bit better, but you're stuck with level 1 skewer as well. It's not like you can get the biggest gap distancing here for the side of PARIVISION to look for their own place yet.
They're going to smoke up anyway. Top lane Crystallis is being chased by Seneko, but well, Seneko does have help incoming. Eki and Stormer, they're trying to cut him off. Black Hole will be committed. Crystallis still okay as the side of AVULUS. Not there yet. They'll finally get the other spike off, but there is help incoming. No one, a nice skewer. He'll take down Seneko, but Crystallis will still be lost. In the meantime, Stormer, they just can't deal with the Viper. They need to get out. No one. He'll at least find Eki, but Ducalis does go down to the Viper once again. 9 class at the very least might be able to run with his Vendetta. If he needs to. He wants to hold out. He'll be alright.
Yeah. That was pretty heads up from the side of PARIVISION. That nice sinister gaze from Ducalis to drag Storm away from no one, at the very least, does make it so it's a little bit better off in trading. You're finding support for support. You're kind of fine trading this way on the side of Parry outside, well, losing Crystallis earlier on. And it does still feel fine. I mean, it could have been worse if you lose no one on tops, or at least one of your cores is getting built up. But this timing in the Bristle, it's slowly coming together. You know, the Ags is only about 500 gold away. You're not that far behind Crystallis, despite dying like this. But again, it just feels a little bit awkward for Parry at the moment. They will go over the smoke out. They do have RP ready this time around.
Oh, Eki is around to break the gank. 9 class gonna get caught. RP committed. No one. He only found the line, but they'll take it. That's all they want for now. Eki, though, not dying. In comes Sipe. Stormer, he got caught for a moment. Is he alright? The Viper, he's worth a lot of gold and XP, and it looks like they're finally going to take him down, though DM might drop to boot. A bit of a mess up at this top lane. It does end up being a 2-for-3 trade. In fact, make that a 2-for-4, as they will also find 9 class.
Yeah, it's an important kill to find for the side of Parry, but you're seeing the impact of this Dawnbreaker. You come in with a Solar Guardian, you know the Nyx is not around, or did already pop Spike Carapace. You get a free channel, and the team fight's broken apart. You're forced to roar a little bit in an awkward time there for DM. And again, it's just not the ideal circumstances. They keep going.
Ducalis urged up there by Smiling Knight with the defusal, but seeing no one and Crystallis around the area, they do not want to commit that deep. We have seen at PARIVISION, they are successfully starting to fight back, and certainly not advised to try and get too greedy here up against PARIVISION. They are one of those teams where if they get off to a good fight, the whole game can turn very, very quickly. So with that 8-16 4K advantage still the way of AVULUS, they are still well and truly in control of this game. It really does only take one fight for everything to change.
And it does. Some key timings to work into next as well for Parry. The BKB set to come out for no one. Simplifies matters for him further. And, you know, all things said and done, all of these RPs have been only onto, say, 1 or 2 man, mainly the Lion. If we start seeing some bigger ones and you get the follow-through, with your Bristleback, with the Quilts, with the Ags up, it can get scary. Like, the ideal circumstances for PARIVISION is actually just a full-on team fight, as long as you don't get caught out in Black Hole afterwards. If you take care of Seneko in the back first, things can start to look really good here for PARIVISION, considering these circumstances.
A very good game here for our Slark as well. Smiling Knight has been completely free farming this whole time, about 200 gold away, I believe, from the Aghanim Scepter now. That double pounce will be up rather soon. 9 class still trying to work towards that Dagon. He's had a bit of a rough time. Almost there though, not too far off. Of course, you are looking at Crystallis as well. Ags is up, wants the shards, wants the BKB. But certainly with the Ags available, you can start to at least try to turn fights with your team, assuming AVULUS do come running to you. So AVULUS for now, more than happy to just relax. I think at least wait out the Ags for your Slark before you get going, as Eki. Looking at 9 class, but the Vendetta was used and he just runs his way out of it.
Yep, just kind of trying to bait in, no one to follow through though, but Scuttle is a hard thing to lock in, at the very least. Both sides could start thinking about Roche. It doesn't feel like they take it the quickest. Either way, perhaps the Bristle has a little bit of a better time if you do get spacing out for Crystallis somehow. In this kind of stalled out game, you are certainly a little bit more happy on Parry. Again, the scaling is there. There's a hard cap almost onto the Viper as to where his damage starts being a little bit irrelevant. You do have some big timings for AVULUS to line up for, mind you, as they will start to sneak up here.
I don't see him. They do now, but it's a bit too late. They won't be able to make the jump in.
Oh, left a tier 2 token. Could have stolen it away.
Eki, he's looking at 9 class top lane. That'll be a nice easy one, I believe, for Smiling Knight. 9 class, not going to be able to get away. They'll just wait out the spike characters first. Meanwhile, no one. Going to be spotted by Seneko. And no one he wants nothing of. Gets the hell out of there immediately.
Again, AVULUS is playing in the exact spot they've been playing almost majority of the game since past the laning phase. Right across the river, not on their own side of the jungle. Just shrinking down the map, pressuring PARIVISION as much as possible. And they haven't really stopped Crystallis, but it does feel like the support system around this Bristle just isn't quite where it should be. Still waiting for that build-up. And we haven't really felt the fear of Nyx in this game just yet. 9 class has not had a lot of room to try to play around with the Vendetta burst play. And Dagon is almost done at the least, and that could simplify that process, but it's basically a farm game for PARIVISION for now, right? Like, there's no angles out unless you find a big RP. There's no protection for the Magnus if he does commit here for no one until he has a BKB. And until those conditions are met, you just sit back, farm where you can. They will smoke out now with Crystallis on hand. See if they can maybe get that burst play going with Dagon up.
They're looking at DM. Bottom lane, DM may get caught before this smoke even pans out for him. Storm is going to find him as well, so there's no way the Beastmaster gets out of this one unless they can make it in time. They're right by him, but he is down now. RP though committed no one. He's going to find 2 targets. Smiling Knight at least got the ulti off in time so he can shadow dance away, but they'll lose Stormer. And I'd say that's a pretty good trade here for the side of PARIVISION. They'll be happy with that one.
It's that kind of play that you need to come out here on PARIVISION. A big RP to bring themselves back in, to even out the game just a tad bit. Not enough to swing the tides yet, but just making it a little bit
jump
tougher
in,
still.
Eki. Problem is Crystallis was on the high ground. A lot of damage being dealt here from the Bristle. Still, they will try for no one. Meanwhile, Black Hole in the backside has caught the Bristle. Crystallis is down. Seneko will fall to boot, but it's a very good trade for AVULUS.
They get some good punishment. They find the angle, and they're playing off these wards really nicely. Again, AVULUS has been playing on the side of a river for a long time. They've got some good forward vision to sustain through with this aggression. Mind you, there are a couple of good defensive wards here as well from the side of PARIVISION. And it's just not quite enough. Although this one ward in the cliff did help them out in that skirmish near the bounty rune area down bot. Still 10-19, a 5k lead standing for AVULUS. And they are still set to ramp up. We see Smiling Knight going back for the Mage Slayer, which again, the debuff on the Bristleback is not the best thing in the world for the Bristle. Full Ags up for Sibbe, so a mischance added heal on your Dawnbreaker ultimate, it just complicates things for the side of Parry. Their initiation has to be perfect every single time here.
Looks like might be a Roshan attempt now from AVULUS. Should be able to get away with this one pretty easily. There's no contest from PARIVISION. They have no idea it's happening. It'll be a free Roshan, the way of AVULUS. Aegis will be given to Stormer, who has died a couple times recently. Just keep the Viper safe. Immediate Twin Gate usage up towards the top lane where no one is currently hunting Eki. This could be a little bit awkward. 9 class going to show his face. Jump in from Smiling Knight. Eki barely going down, but they will at least find the trade onto 9 class. Is now no one forced to try and skewer her away. PARIVISION are there to help them. Just a trade on the supports. PARIVISION, they'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, again, you take what you can get. You still have RP for a re-engage, but side of AVULUS actually looking to go forward. Smoke up, Black Hole not up for 60 seconds still. There's a little bit of a window where that teamfight might not be as sharp, but they do want to show off this Dawnbreaker Ags if possible.
Carlos might be caught very, very quickly here by Smiling Knight, but DM is right around the corner. Gets the roar off, but there's your Solar Guardian coming in, making it impossible to burst down Smiling Knight. Still the RP through the Shadow Dance, but it's not helping out Smiling Knight. He could probably just pounce out of there, and he will. They don't have the damage follow-up. They'll at least pick off Eki. They should have Seneko to boot. Seneko could do nothing to survive, but here comes Stormer. Oh, but he stunned himself as well. The spike carapace through the nether toxin. Crystallis, do you want to keep going? Stormstormer actually very, very low. Gonna lose the Aegis here, forcing maybe another fight here from AVULUS. Do they want to protect the Viper? Zipe's around. Stormstormer in huge trouble though. Is gonna go down. And that could be the opening PARIVISION has waited for all game.
And it is. Just a little bit of a slip up from the side of AVULUS. Not really catching the biggest in the Solar Guardian, getting clumped up for a little bit of a Chain Frost coming out there from Ducalis. There were a few neat plays coming in, right? Like Zipe manages to get the Orchid usage off to stop the Skewer back from no one. Could have led into an additional kill on Smiling Knight. But they just overplay their hands on the side of AVULUS. Right? They don't have Black Hole. Saneko dies in the side. Stormer's late to the game. Without that frontline presence and the damage he can provide, just goes sideways very quickly for AVULUS. Evening out the game, 14-21, less than 1k lead for the side of AVULUS. And the side of PARIVISION, they're set to go online. BKB's up and running unused on Crystallis. Tormentor to be taken, so free shard for Saneko, a little bit more utility out. With a Malefice at the least. But they've got to be a little bit cautious on the side of AVULUS. PARIVISION, once they get going, it doesn't stop rolling once they're on their own game.
Well, it seems like AVULUS, they will slow down just a little bit. 9 classes currently just stalking Stormstormer in the mid lane. Doesn't really have any help around, so can't really go for the Viper kill, but could look to Saneko. That'll be hopefully a nice easy one, but no, the shield comes in clutch. Oh, he was just barely off. Just a little bit more damage would have done it, but now he's fed another finger kill away to Eki.
Fed a finger kill away and fed the gem back towards AVULUS, so now they've got no worries about spotting out this Nyx whatsoever and can retake map control.
Yeah, nice RP. Stormstormer farming underneath the creep wave. Forced up. No, he's still on the high ground. Still Smiling Knight. He'll move in. He'll try to salvage, but he might be feeding his own life away. Oh, a big loss now for AVULUS. PARIVISION just getting so much off this 9-class death. They'll find a third, and that should be the top tier 2 tower of Smiling Knight. Well, at least he's still smiling.
Yeah, no, it's a little bit strange. He got the Depth Shroud off, but the Lich ultimate just bounces around. A little bit unfortunate, maybe expecting it to bail out. Still a very tight spot, a big RP from no one, and again, the game just swings back. This is what we're saying. Once PARIVISION starts to get a taste of the blood in the water, they don't relent, and they just need it to get to this point where they get that initial farm going. They can start to line up these fights. It's just very hard for you to expect a pause 5 Enigma to provide that same team fight coming in, right? Like, you're not going to have the farm to just have Black Hole at the ready every single time, and it just becomes a little bit hellish, because that is most of your team fight. It's Black Hole, it's Solar Guardian, and you're just heavily reliant on your Lion and Slark to kind of get that jump in for you.
Or now PARIVISION in the lead for what feels like the first time this game. Yeah, this is game 3. Winner of this one gets top 3 secured here at ESL One Bangkok. It's a big deal. AVULUS not out of it yet, but they've certainly lost a very decent kind of lead that they had going, and PARIVISION now have hit their stride with their own draft. 9 class still just trying to keep tabs on the side of AVULUS, see what they're up to. Like AVULUS grouping up in the mid lane, maybe looking for a smoke, and they will pop one. 9 class though, staring at this Dawnbreaker. We'll find Stormstormer to boot. No sentries here to find the Nyx assassin. PARIVISION, they are slowly making their way up top. But I say that not really. It seems like they will just get back to the farm game, and 9 class, he's just going to stick around. At least for a little bit more.
Yeah. Taking a gander, at least getting some information out for his team. Keep playing safe. No group up just yet from the side of AVULUS. Next Roche, 2.5 minutes until we see that respawn timer. They've got their own timings to try to hit a BKB for Stormer being formed up after he finishes up his Shiva's Guard. So still a ways off from any of those items coming in. You have the Lincolns to be formed up by Smiling Knight to at least avoid some of the harder control coming in. There has been some decent ways to set up, especially if you do manage to get that roar off at a timely manner for DM. Smoke out from Parry now as well on the hunt here.
Oh, they're going to try for Stormstormer, another huge pick off, they can get it. Does he know they're coming? He senses something. Stormstormer, he'll back off for a little bit. Eki, though, may not be so lucky, but he gets an Earth Spike beforehand. Still the RP coming out, no one. Still, Smiling Knight, he got the Dark packed off in time, so he's perfectly fine to just continue fighting through this as they'll go after the Lich. A 1-for-1 thus far. Snake in the meantime also caught out, and so is Stormstormer. It's a 3-for-1 trade in the favor of PARIVISION for now. Smiling Knight forced to run with Sipe. Just get the hell out of there. I mean, props to Smiling Knight. His Dark Packs have been very quick just before the RPs come in, but they still just aren't making enough difference.
Nah, but they haven't. Ooh, almost spots out, just outside of nighttime vision. Smiling Knight will be able to bail out. A tight spot. And again, you're seeing that team fight difference coming out here. Just how fast the RP can start to set up, even on a 2-man, is just much more impactful. Tsuneko tries to get these black holes off. Just so many ways to cancel from the side of PARIVISION. And we heard the panel say it. When they saw the Enigma come in, into a Nyx, it's really not an easy time. Carapace constantly is a threat to you when you're trying to get the black hole. There's a lot of AoE that Nyx can pop it off. And if he's not caught in, there's always the Impale. So it's just a big challenge for you to leverage that teamfight combination on AVULUS, and a very simple process on the side of PARIVISION to get the same done.
Well, looks like Ducalis might be a nice freebie here for Smiling Knight. They'll miss out on no one, but they'll take the easy kill. They won't mind. Just looking towards that mid-tier 2 tower as well. Sipe can join whenever. We'll just deal with this Helm of the Overlord creep. Rest of AVULUS smoked up, looking for more. Chrysalis would be a great target, but instead they'll have to settle for 9 class. Still good.
That Nyx has been a major thorn in their side. So just taking care of that, scouting around with Scuttle is big. They've got space to shove in mid. They've got the Shard up and Stormstormer to speed up this process as well. Does not take too long for a Viper with a Shard to melt through an objective.
I mean, AVULUS
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
fighting back. PARIVISION not to be outdone. They won't lose their tier 2 mid tower. They'll remain grouped up on that high ground. They're not feeling safe to go down yet. So AVULUS have been proving to be quite aggressive in these last few minutes. They might see a smoke rotation out from PARIVISION soon. They remain grouped up in that mid lane. DM will venture out and deal with some creep waves, but the rest of the squad sticking together. The problem is you can see everything as the dawn breaking now, so it's, you know, I suppose in some ways it's a good thing they didn't smoke.
Pretty much. It would just be very obvious. And again, you can just take your time here in AVULUS, get back, retreat. Good timing on the Celestial Hammer to go all the way back to base. It's always a funny one. Look at that. Free fire all across the map. Still, Roshan is open, has respawned. They've given up control down bot. And it's not going to take too long for PARIVISION to clear this one out. Aegis plus Banner for Roshan number 2. With a Banner, perhaps, if they can start to eat through some tier 2s, tier 3 high ground does open up a little bit more. And that in the bristleback with Aegis is not an easy target to dig into whatsoever.
AVULUS, I mean, they'll sit back. They'll be alright with that. The Aegis does go the way of Chrysalis, so it is on PARIVISION to see if they want to try and get aggressive. Lines are being drawn up towards the top side of the map, so it does seem like they want to make some big moves while they can. Eki, gonna avoid getting caught by 9 class, does TP away. 9 class, of course, on the hunt, seeing if he can find anybody, and Stormstorm would be a primary target if he runs into him. He will not, however. He'll continue running directly north. Ooh, Smiling Knight, even better. Dark Pack already committed as well if he wants to make the jump in. 9 class still not really seeing him yet, though. Smiling Knight being very cautious just on the far north side of those trees and actually never gets spotted. It's a good game sense by AVULUS, knowing that they're probably around, but we're still going to get some far more out here.
Yeah. Again, they're keeping that network advantage of PARIVISION to a point where it's really not growing that much wider, so it's still a relatively even game. 5k advantage for Pari. You're getting some steady build-up and Crystallis and everyone else, but you're starting to scale up as well on AVULUS. BKB for Stormstormer into the Shivas. He did He is still gunning for the Shiva's. Recipe's still a ways off. But once you've got that, mitigating some of the effects of the eventual Satanic Crystallis, things start to feel a little bit better. And that and a BKB on top, all you need to worry about is the big RPs that no one has been connecting to. And that's where the issue lies. Like, it does not feel like you have the best of ways scouting behind, or even just catching anyone in behind, in comparison to this Blink RP to start fights out from Parry. So you have to maintain strong discipline in AVULUS to just not get caught out in that way.
Radiant's bottom tower is
AVULUS still just avoiding the side of PARIVISION. PARIVISION, they'll be okay with just taking the tier 2 tower and looking towards the mid. Now, AVULUS not looking at all interested in trying to get any kind of fight here with the Aegis up on Crystallis. Stormstormer gonna get back to the high ground. PARIVISION, are they going to try for a tier 3 tower? I mean, they certainly could. They are feeling rather strong right now with that 5k advantage plus the Aegis. And they'll give it a crack. At the very least to force back the side of AVULUS back towards their own base. Already most of that tier 3 tower gone, and they have dropped the Roshan banner, so they are committed.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
There's your tier 3 tower gone. Smiling Knight, he's going to pounce in and try. Just getting those stacks going. Crystallis, though, still a very tanky boy, won't mind too much. Raindrax is now down. Is that going to be about it? It seems like it will. They won't rush anymore.
Just a little bit rough for Crystallis once he's out of mana. That diffusal on the diffusal and Mage Slayer on Smiling Knight, just taking a lot of the bite away from that bristle. It's still already piercing the high ground. It's a good sign here for the side of Parry. No Roche banner means that a retake is likely not to come out. Still a lot of time left on the Aegis at the least. And you have some protection coming in for no one with that full Linken's up. So your counteraction and hexing as the RP comes in, not going to be as simple to pull off. Not that it's been simple whatsoever for Eki.
Smiling Knight, can he get the initiation he wants? He saw no one, but no one saw him too. The Sentry Ward giving the vision. 9 class. Also not getting jumped here by Smiling Knight. And now PARIVISION, they might want to try and reinitiate. If they see the opening, they'll smoke up. AVULUS, though, looking to back off. We'll run directly north of the map.
Radiant.
Oh, who they found? They found Zibe. That's going to be a nice kill if they can catch the Dawnbreaker, and they do. No buyback for 80 seconds. That's massive here for PARIVISION. Stormstormer also being caught, but 9 class did not have the Impale available at the time. Could not go for the stun. But it won't matter. You've got 70 more seconds without a Dawnbreaker. You just need a creep wave, and well, you're off to the races.
Yeah, it's not going to take long. We've seen the damage coming in again from Crystallis, although...
Yeah, jump in. Oh, Crystallis, he's been blown up. No one, though. He's caught Stormstormer. The skewer back, the Force Staff not going to help him out. The Viper is down, and there's no buyback.
Oh boy.
Oh, PARIVISION one step closer to that top 3 secure. Eki gonna try and slow things down. Smiling Knight, he'll make a jump in and take some stats away. And Crystallis, he'll still play very safe. Still so tanky with that Frost Shield from Ducalis. And there goes your tier 3 tower. Onto the racks, 9 class gonna jump in, Impale out, Eki is down already. Smiling Knight trying to jump in at Seneko, but no, the black hole! It's cancelled immediately. They're having none of it. Seneko will buy back, but what's he meant to do without his big spell?
Nothing. There's no play. No buybacks coming out from those 2 cores. Parry will just take the mid and back off. They're not going to tempt fate with so much on the line in this game. But they've got the clear advantage now. 24 to 25, 17k lead after a very slow start for PARIVISION. All it takes is a couple of good RPs, although Crystallis...
Yeah, Smiling Knight's going to try and move in. Crystallis, though, again, with the Frost Shield up from Ducalis, it just makes it so hard to actually kill him. Yeah, you can take his stats away, but that's kind of half the issue here. The Smiling Knight now going to back off. 9 class almost catching him with an Impale, forcing the Shadow Dance. With a 17k advantage now, PARIVISION, if they can just continue to play clean, they've got this game in the bag. AVULUS, though, not quite out of it yet. They're only 1 racks down.
Not too... In terms of game state, certainly not too bad. They need to try to secure next Roshan on the side of AVULUS. They can't afford to give that away. It's just too much to try to deal with 2 lives in Crystallis once more. Like, yes, they've got the burst. They can only do that the one time with a Viper Strike. Maybe And after that, like, the durability is just too much. This Magnus to counteract Slark is really big as well. Like, you are not getting saves out with his Depth Shroud whatsoever. Just the skewer back right when the Depth Shroud is dropped. No one has been so on point with taking away that saving aspect that any turnaround play in a longer fight for AVULUS just seems impossible.
Nice scan out from AVULUS. I know PARIVISION is around that bottom side of the map. The bottom lane they'll go. There is still a T2 tower standing at this bottom lane, though AVULUS are ready to try and force the fight, but it'll be underneath the vision of PARIVISION if they want this area. Not advised. They'll head back towards their die triangle. PARIVISION, they'll also relocate. They look like they want to run through the mid lane instead. Smiling Knight is around the area once again. Does he want to try and at least take that creep? Certainly not. Immediately out of there. It's very scary times for AVULUS.
Yeah, and again, they have to play so safely. Or not necessarily safely, but they have to play really smart. They have to not get caught out in a big RP, which, again, no one's been very on point with just the right targets at the right time with his combination. It's been a lot tougher to catch anyone out mid-combo as well, with the Linken's BKB being up and no one. And it almost feels like you need Seneko to step up to the plate with a Blink Black Hole. Again, he doesn't have a BKB. It's so hard to ask of that from an Enigma in this game, up against so many ways to counteract, but your team fight's starting to boil down into that point.
Here we go, another defense to come. Crystallis wants to go for that melee barracks, make it 2 Raxes up. Smiling Knight going to jump in onto the creep, trying to slow this barracks from going down, but even the ball's just hitting away. Might just get the job done. The Rax will be left just for a little bit, but I'm sure not for long. 55 HP has been left on for now. Crystallis will jump in as well. He couldn't get the right click off. Roar in.
What?
They've got Stormstormer. Solar Guardian committed, but the RP is out now. No one's caught 2 of them. They've got the Slark as well. Zive's going to drop. Black Hole committed. Seneko, he's going to try one last time. They do take Night Class and Ducalis out. In fact, they're still alive on these cores. But Stormstormer's dropped. He'll buy back as well. 2 Raxes down though. Can they at least punish the side of PARIVISION? Can they find a core for their trouble? Crystallis, he'd be a nice one. But he's out of vision. He's avoided them. They can't find anyone yet. Maybe DM, but no, even he blinks away. Oh, the pounce. He was right on target, but just a little bit too late. And sadly, so many buybacks committed on these cores, but not only did they lose their racks, they don't really find any big kills.
Yeah. They're not able to get anything done. And again, there's just so much pressure on AVULUS to find an angle for the team fights, and none of them are simple. You can't start with a black hole. You can't hope for just getting a Hex Earth Spike out from your Lion to be enough anymore. You don't have the burst damage to just play off the back of that. Very sick passing of the bottle around as well. That does lead to Crystallis just staying alive, getting that extra bit of mana to actually have enough to go home on the TP. With the buybacks in AVULUS, they could try to set up for Roshan. They have bodies in the area. They don't have wards quite in the area though, as they've set up on the cliff down bot. But if they do manage to somehow sneak away Rosh, that does kind of compensate for their commitment on the buyback. It still is a difficult game being 2 racks behind, but it does allow you to start to try to find some angles at the very least. Oh, 9 class. Getting all the info in the back.
DM jumping in, gets a D ward off, or it hasn't got it quite yet. Meanwhile, Smiling Knight did pop the Shadow Dance, trying to go after the Beastmaster. DM still very tanky though, will be just fine. On the backside, Stormstormer in huge trouble, with the Solar Guardian going to save his life. Is now to jump in. They found no one on the Magnus, but do they have the damage? It doesn't really seem like it. No one will survive. The RP's out. They've caught Sibe with that one. Stormstormer already down to boot. Sibe's still trying to fight back, but it's not looking good. He's died to the Crystal. The Bristleback is now Smiling Knight. Has jumped in trying to go after Crystallis, but it doesn't look great for him. He's just lacking so much damage. Seneko will drop. No one's still being chased, but Smiling Knight trying to hit everyone he can. Nobody dying though. Finally no one is down, but it might cost him his own life. And it does. A full team wipe. Now for PARIVISION. Smiling Knight is the only man alive, and that should just be a guaranteed, I think, top 3 for PARIVISION if they can get to the Ancient.
4v1 So much weight on Smiling Knight if he can try to hold this off. Such a great time for the Slark. He had 33 stacks right before dying. It's just not enough for him alone to clean up in Smiling Knight. And I don't think he's going to be enough to stop this.
Yeah, grasp out. Ducalis has caught him already. Sans committed to boot. He is gone.
it's
GG is
over.
called. PARIVISION, they are your second top 3 here at ESL One Bangkok.